Christian Miller.
It's time for the Miller's Edge with four-time SEC champion and two-time national champion Christian Miller.
Once again with Christian Miller taking him down.
Here's college football playoff national champion Christian Miller on Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC.
And welcome into this hump day edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Hope everybody's doing great. Hope you guys are having a great start to your day and hope you guys are ready to dive in to a bunch more news regarding Alabama football and just college football in general. Chase, man, just finished up. I just told you about this behind the scenes. Just finished up doing an interview with Outkick. If you guys are interested in going back and listening to that, just kind of covering what's going on with Alabama football. A lot of the stuff we've been talking about here on the show, but they reached out and wanted to get us over on their platform. Did that not long ago, but the link should be over on their page if you guys are interested at Outkick on X, also YouTube and all that good stuff. It was a great opportunity for us to keep spreading the word about the Miller's Edge, so I made sure we did that and got to put us on the map a little bit more, and appreciate all you guys that support us and are rolling with us and helping us continue to grow and expand our platform. So I finished up with that this morning, and now it's time to rock and roll over here, man. So it's another day, man. We're locked and loaded again. It's a busy time of the year, but hey, man, we enjoy it. This is what we like to do. It allows us to continue to talk about the game of football, which we're never going to complain about that. And speaking about that, Chase, regarding some updates, we got to talk about some updates, some good for sure. If you guys see the title of the stream, we got some huge news that we'll discuss here when we come back in a moment, but also some more news that might not be so good that we're going to address and talk about what the next steps are from there. So make sure you guys are ready to do that. Before we do, let me remind you about our friends over at R&R Cigars. If you guys are looking for the best place to get your cigars, number one, no brainer, right? Best humidor in the Southeast. But also, if you're looking for a place to go watch, any of your favorite sporting events, especially if you're an Alabama fan, you got Alabama basketball going on right now. SEC play is definitely in motion. Big win for the basketball team over Mississippi State yesterday, I believe, unless I'm mixing my days up. It's one of those days, so it might be like that. But anyway, if you're ever looking for a place to go watch this stuff, right, check out R&R Cigars. They've got all the cigars that you can imagine, but they also have bourbons, right, over 160 of them. They just started using some of the Yay Alabama products as well with those new alcoholic beverages that just rolled out. So if you've been interested in trying that stuff, you can do all that at R&R Cigars, plus go watch your favorite sporting events. So make sure you guys take advantage of that and their website, rnrcigars.com. You can go to the website, use code Miller's Edge, get yourself a discount on any of those cigars that you order from the website. So make sure you guys take advantage of that. Again, that is our friends over at R&R Cigars, the official cigar provider of Alabama football since 2014. Chase, before we dive into some of this transfer portal news and updates that we have, we talked a lot about Tai Simpson yesterday officially declaring for the NFL draft. So we're not going to go too in depth regarding that whole deal, whether, good decision, bad decision, because we did a lot of that yesterday. But he did, speak with Chris Lowe, one of our friends of the show here, who now works with On3, formerly of ESPN. Really good article. If you guys haven't seen it or checked it out, or even just seen some of the quotes from it, right? I mean, it was some really good stuff. And you talk about a guy we already knew, Tai Simpson, without a doubt, is a Bama guy, right? Bama through and through, not just somebody that says Roll Tide and is, smiling when he's wearing that script A, but a guy that he means what he says. And he even more so reaffirmed that commitment, not only with turning down that NIL deal, that lucrative deal from Miami, but also in the article that came out with Chris Lowe, man, you can hear him explain his reasonings and also even talk a little bit about some of the things going on behind the scenes this past season, which you kind of alluded to, right? Being a little banged up, dealing with some stuff. But he just gave you a little bit more of an inside glimpse. So really good stuff. We'll talk about that maybe here in a minute. But there is one thing I do want to say, Chase, and I feel like I have to, right? Because it's on my heart. Man, and I know we've kind of talked about this, but I just – number one, want to commend Tai for that level of commitment, that love and passion for the university, basically saying, man, I couldn't even think twice about taking an offer from another school, given that I put my handprints in Denny Chimes, which I was fortunate and blessed to do that as well. So I completely understand the impact that it has on you and how much that should mean to someone, without a doubt. But I just couldn't help but think in my head, man, not only do we love and respect Tai for that, but we can't forget, man, Jalen Milro also shared many of these same qualities and perspectives on things. And he might not necessarily been offered $6.5 million, but I can very much tell you he was offered, he definitely was offered some money if he wanted to transfer. And I believe he had a very similar approach. And I'm sorry, guys. It really just it bothers me when I look back and really think again on how he was treated, knowing how special that young man was, who, in my opinion, again, did very much similar deal as Tai Simpson, right? With his, allegiance to the university, especially even with some of the outside noise. And so I just want to be clear. I'm not bringing this up to take anything from Tai, because if anything, I love and respect Tai for his approach, hearing him speak about this and hearing that love and passion. I mean, 100%. I just want to also acknowledge a young man that I feel like should have also received that same level of love and respect last season, but instead he not only did it wasn't even just like a little bland send off. It was a very much, people wishing ill will, not everybody. And I always felt that it was completely undeserved and totally unfair. But I don't know, Chase. This is on my heart, man. Again, it's not to take anything from anybody else. I'm just saying I want us to appreciate both of those guys and understand we're fortunate to have now two guys over the last seasons that probably could have. Again, Jalen didn't announce any NIL deals, but I'm telling you right now, he was offered money to go play elsewhere if he chose to do so. But he also had a similar mindset, and I just hate looking back at how he was treated, because I just know as a former player, we can sit here and talk about tuning out the outside noise all we want, but I'm just telling you for a fact, a young man like Jalen, man, like that stuff definitely probably hurt him, man. And I commend how strong he is for being able to have thick skin and still, coming back, hanging out on the sideline. Most recently, a few games, I think ago, like SEC championship game, something like that. But just wanted to show my guy some love, because I've always been, a big fan of his, just by the way he carries himself alone. And I just, man, to me, this is the type of love and appreciation he also should have got, but unfortunately he didn't. Can't go back in time, but we can. And now I'm not correcting my wrongs, because I never did anything like that, but I can try to correct some of the wrongs of some others. So just want to show all our guys that have this approach love, whether you're a quarterback, whether you play the best football possible for us, whether you struggle. To me, it shouldn't matter as long as you put on that Crimson A, that script A, and you give it everything you got, and you say, hey, I want to play at the University of Alabama, even in a world where money is one of the main driving factors. I choose to express my commitment to Alabama regardless of circumstances. I want to celebrate and lift all those guys up. So that's all. I just wanted to show everybody some love while it was on my mind. That said, let's hit a timeout. When we come back, we got some big news to discuss and to break down. I do want to throw this out there, and you guys are probably going to call me a liar, and I wouldn't be mad at you if you did. I promise I'm going to work the phone lines today. I know you're going to say, well, you said that yesterday and the day. Listen, we had guests. Today, I don't have anybody scheduled right now. I really don't. Now, my dad might pop on here. Would love for him to. I'm not sure if he is or not. So I promise I will be able to work the phone line. Smitty, I got you today. Anybody else, I got you today. We're going to talk about this, the news that we've got, and then we'll discuss it with you guys. Hopefully, also in the chat, you guys can always watch us do the show live at the Miller's Edge on YouTube, also on the Tide 100.9 Facebook. Again, completely free. All we do is ask is on your way, hit that like button and subscribe if you enjoy the content, which I'm pretty sure you guys will. We got to hit a timeout. When we come back, we keep on rolling right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC.
The Tuscaloosa Thread News Update.
What's up, guys? Who we got in here? Bama Gump, what's up? Jake, what's going on? Happy Wednesday, man. What are we going to do at Bandit? We're going to talk about that. We definitely got to discuss that. That's definitely a big deal, man. Definitely a big deal. All players at that position have now transferred out except one, and that was reserve Cavante Henry, I believe. I'm getting that right? I think he goes by another name as well. But, yeah, we'll talk about that for sure. Maybe convert some players. Problem is, who are we going to convert? We're thin at Wolf too, right? So I don't even know who you convert. Portal's still open. Going to have to try to add some guys. For sure, we're not done. We've got a lot of work to do. Arthur, what's up, man? Kenji, what's going on? How can you buy a hat? Man, I got to restock them. I'll be honest with you. But if you guys would be interested in some Miller's Edge merch, or hell, I could even start rolling out some Dolly Tide hats. If you guys are interested in the whole Spanish vibe going, let me know, man. I'll be glad to restock on them and get those available for you guys. But yeah, we made these trucker hats a little over a year ago, and I'd be glad to bring them back and play if you guys are interested for sure. Sorry, my dog's drinking water in the background if you're wondering. C-Spot, what's up, man? Yes, sir. If you guys haven't, man, hit that like button. Appreciate that. Players want money, but they want development also. Bama hadn't shown much on either front since the board took over. Simple as that. Listen, I'm not going to disagree. I'll be honest. I think, and we'll talk a little bit about this. I mean, listen, one day I'll be able to speak a little bit more on some stuff, but not all these guys leaving is because they're chasing the bag. I just wanted to be clear on that. I think a lot of people, they naturally just kind of, assume. But I would urge people to not necessarily assume. I know it's easy to in this day and age with the climate that we have in college football, but just understand, I mean, there is a number of things at play. And I'm not going to disagree with that. I think if we're just being completely honest here, I don't know what the numbers are to be curious, but in terms of guys being drafted to the league over the last few years versus what it was several years ago here, then you also start comparing that to other programs. I would argue other teams have kind of closed that gap. And that brings me to my point from the other day. If we're not necessarily going to be paying top dollar for a number of these players, in the past we used to have what we used to call the Saban discount, right? People looked at it as, oh, well, I'll take a little bit of a discount because I'm going to be developed by the best. And right now, and this is no knock on the current staff, we're just being totally honest here. We haven't had the same high level of picks or elite players that we saw prior. We definitely have some good players that have been drafted. Malachi Moore, I think, just finished in top 5 for rookies. I mean, really good player. He was a mid-round pick. Again, doesn't matter where you're picked. It matters what you do when you get there. But don't get me wrong. We still have a number of good football players. It's not necessarily at the same level as it was when you're seeing, oh, Bama's going to have at least a guaranteed 2, if not 3 to 4 guys possibly as first rounders. So it's just something to consider. So I definitely don't disagree with that comment. Ty and Jalen are legends in my eyes. Absolutely. Unfortunately, way off sides, Jeff. What's up, man? You look at Jalen's career, and I think it gets overshadowed by some of the, his last year, some of the struggles that he had, right? Especially Oklahoma game, some of the other stuff. But if you go back and look, I mean, Jalen walked out of here as an SEC champion, led his team to a college football playoff. We're really about a play away from playing in the national championship game. I mean, he did a lot of big things. His stats, I think he threw for like 2,800 yards in 2023. He threw for like 2,800 yards, and I forgot how many rushing yards, but still, then his senior year, he also threw for about 2,800 yards, more or less. He had 16 or so touchdowns passing, but then he also had 20 touchdowns on the ground. I mean, so, but even, take away what they did on the field, off the field, how those guys carry themselves, man. I mean, class act. And that's why I brought it up. It's not to be comparing one versus the other. I hate when people do that. I just wish Jalen was met with that same level of respect, because he also, it was very similar in terms of some of this, man. But it is what it is, part of it. I try to have my guys back, man.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And welcome back into this Hump Day edition of Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Speaking of legends and guys that, are just big Alabama guys, shout out to Tim Keenan, man. I think somebody requested we get him on here, I think last week. So I hit him up last week, and he's busy with the draft, but he got back with me this morning, actually. And you talk about a stand-up guy. Listen, we got some good players, man. And if we had a team full of these guys, man, I mean, we would be really well off. But just the little things, Chase, like Tim was like, man, appreciate that email. Sorry for getting back with you a little late, man. I'm training around that time, so might be kind of tough. But I'm just like, man, I don't think he even understands the fact that he took the time to respond, just to respond and say, hey, man, unfortunately, This says so much about him. So shout out to TK, man. I always want to give guys, some love when it's due. And he was definitely another guy. Speaking of these guys that absolutely love Alabama and stand for everything that it's meant to. He does a great job. So just wanted to give him a shout out. That being said, let's mention some of these big updates that we got to dive into before we go to the phone lines, and we'll do that a little early. 205-342-9904 is the number. All right, Chase. So in terms of, we'll start with the good news, like we always do. We always start with the good news here, right? It's not necessarily coming via the portal, but it's actually coming from, I guess, retention, we can call it, right? We've been waiting on a couple of draft decisions. We hadn't got them yet. They have until the 15th, which is tomorrow. I think that's the deadline to declare for the NFL draft. Well, the biggest one being Yonze Pierre. We've been waiting on that announcement. I'll be honest with you, that might be probably one of the biggest factors this offseason. Well, allegedly, according to Matt Zenitz, who is very trustworthy, he's with CBS Sports, he had put out this morning that not only Yonze Pierre, but also Keon Sabb, both Crimson Tide players, defensive players, are in fact currently expected to return to college for another season. I told you guys yesterday, it might have been after we got off radio, I expected Yonze to come back. Like I said yesterday, Matt confirmed that. They're both viewed as like day two guys. To me, it would make total sense for Yonze to come back because of that. We looked at the differences of what guys would make in terms of, slot values for signing bonuses. Yonze Pierre, in my opinion, if he builds off of what he did this past season, he could easily solidify himself as a first round draft pick going into next season. And we all know that he's going to be paid handsomely this season if he does come back. So that was no shocker. Again, we talked about that yesterday. More than likely, he was coming back. And Keon Sabb, I felt very strongly about that. Then we talked about that a couple of days ago. Was pretty sure he probably was going to come back, given last year, whether it was due to injury or whatever. I just felt he probably didn't have the season he probably would have imagined. Probably one of his best ball that he played, and so both these guys could easily benefit from coming back. So not the biggest surprise, but it is huge news that you can't deny when you look at this Alabama roster. You look at the youth, you look at the production that's left, whether it's been via the transfer portal, whether it's been guys declaring for the draft. I mean, if you solidify a guy like Yonze Pierre coming back, that is huge because we talk about pass rush and the importance of it. This guy accounted for, I think, 8.5 sacks this past season. So that's huge. And then Keon Sabb, man, a veteran back there in that safety position that I think, him coming back, I mean, you already know he's got experience playing for Michigan in national championship. I mean, that's huge. And I think he can get back to playing some really good football for us because the first season, he definitely was impressive. He started off with a, pair of picks, I think, in the game or something like that. And it was looking like he was going to have a big year, but then he had that foot injury, if you guys remember. Here's the kicker, Chase, that I'm going to throw out here. And I'm not trying to stir the pot. I'm just being completely honest with you guys because I don't want anybody to be shocked if something changes. If you read the tweet here from Matt, if you read closely, it does say, and I know there are some people that went and cleared it up, but still, I'm just going to tell you, until things are signed formally, if you haven't learned a lesson, take it from me when I'm telling you. If somebody is not signed formally, be patient. So the tweet says, Alabama standout safety Keon Sabb and Bama star edge rusher Yonze Pierre are both currently expected to return to college football for another season instead of leaving for the NFL draft. Let's back up real quick. Let's rewind the tape. Expected to return to college for another season. So it didn't say return to Alabama. It said to college. The reason I'm pointing that out is, number one, it's clear, right? It didn't say Alabama. But two, to my knowledge, I don't know if anything has been formally signed yet. I mean, to my knowledge, no one's mentioned stuff being formally signed. I would wait until you see a formal post or a formal announcement from Alabama, because that will tell you if they're officially signed or not. Again, I'm not saying that to make people nervous or think I'm trying to just spin some really good news. I'm just trying to be completely honest with you guys, just in case something comes up and you're not hit with some shockwave like, whoa, because I just know right now the way things have kind of trended, right? And we'll talk about another addition to the transfer portal not coming to us, but leaving on the defensive side of things. If you follow the trend and you kind of have an idea of kind of what's been going on, you might not be shocked if potentially there could be some type of shakeup. So I just want you guys to be aware of that. If Yay Alabama announces something formally, you're definitely in the clear. But until Yay Alabama or whoever, even they come out and basically it says that they have signed, just hold your horses just a little bit. It still is huge news though, because at least you have they're not guaranteed to leave to the NFL. Now there might be a little bit of a chance they might not necessarily be back at Alabama until it's signed. So definitely just be on the lookout for that. Again, not to be negative, I'm just being completely honest with you based off of what I've heard. So that said, we got to hit a timeout. We'll keep talking about some of this transfer portal stuff because we got to talk about another departure yet again on the defensive side. And we got to talk about where we go from there because we are very thin, very, very thin. And we need some bodies. We need some reinforcements, Chase. We're a little thin up front, especially on the defensive side of things, both sides for that matter. We'll talk about what are some potential options and what that might look like going into 2026. We come back right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Plus, we're going to go to the phone lines. We got Smitty, 205-342-9904 is the number we want to hear from you. All that coming up on the other side. We'll be right back. Let me catch back up on some of this stuff. Milro was a beast. Yeah, great player, man. I mean, no denying that. Yeah, he had some deficiencies in the passing game. You know, there's no denying that. But he made up for it. Well, I say made up, meaning like, you know, nobody's going to have, 99 overall in every category. But he excelled with what he did on the ground, and it helped mask a lot of issues with our ground game. And that's why he had so many carries and had 20 rushing touchdowns. But again, yeah, and they both, Tai, Milro, both really good players, right? Different types of players, but really good players. I respect the hell out of both those guys. Great dudes, both of them, really, seriously. I was around both of them for a long time. I mean, I watched all the quarterback battles they went through, and great dudes, man. Ricky, you're like Ford's biggest fan, man. I had to show him some love for you, man, especially for you. Everyone mistook criticizing bad play for hating somebody. It's okay to see poor play and talk about it. No. Well, here's the thing. There's nothing wrong with, if you're criticizing, play on the field. I'm not referring to that. People have their opinion. I mean, listen, at this point, these guys are about as close to professionals as they've ever been. I'm referring to the countless posts and people pushing a narrative that he was the worst quarterback to ever play here. A lot of people said that. A lot of people basically saying they couldn't wait for him to get out of Tuscaloosa and never come back. The list goes on. And it was embarrassing. I was embarrassed for us because, again, I know him. I know his dad. Great family. And even with all that, I never once heard him complain. I never heard him. And he probably had every right if he even wanted to say, man, F this, or never. Not even close. That dude maintained a smile, even with, a large group of people, being that negative towards him, man. And I'll be honest, I commend him. I know I carry myself rather well, and I get compliments on that, but I ain't going to lie to you. I don't even know if I would have been that good of a man in that situation, So special dude, man, special dude. So again, it's not about criticizing play. Hell, people criticize Ty's play, but they also embraced him and loved him. And they're talking about, how special he's on the way out. With Jalen, it was a little bit different. Not saying from everybody, but there was a lot of people that treat that man like that. And I know it seems like a sensitive subject for people, which it shouldn't be. But the problem is people made it about a number of things that it had nothing to do with, whether it's political, race, or whatever, it has nothing to do with that. It's about these guys as young men, first and foremost, and them as football players. And I'll just always be the person. It's not because I'm like biased towards anything. Again, I support good people. I don't give a shit what you look like, what you do on a football field. That means nothing to me. What's most important to me is how you carry yourself. And that man, Jalen, carried himself better than almost anybody I've ever met. We did an easy interview with them. No questions asked, no whatever. Always smile, lit up the room. And man. So I'll be honest, it bothers me. Still to this day, it bothers me how that man was treated. It's piss poor.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And welcome back into this Hump Day edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. We just talked about some big news, some really good news, a little kind of open-ended news, because I just told you guys, if I were you, I know we're celebrating, but just make sure let's try to get the formal announcement. And hopefully that comes soon, and I think it probably should, as long as everything kind of works out. But again, I think if anybody's learned anything over the last week and a half, patience. This thing is a roller coaster. There will be surprises. There will be highs. There will be lows. So definitely, without a doubt, just make sure you guys just kind of carry yourself accordingly. That way, you're not setting yourself up for any big, I guess, I don't know, upsetting news. That said, in terms of some news that's not so great, Chase, we had yet another departure on the defensive side of things, and I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I kind of had an idea that this was very much a possibility, even a week ago. Seemed like it might have kind of been settled, but obviously probably took a turn, I guess you could say, for the worse. And had yet another guy hit the portal, this time coming from Jordan Renaud, another Bandit, right? Which, again, we're going to talk about the importance of that, or the significance, I should say, of this whole deal. But that now, Chase, leaves you with just one Bandit from this past season, and that was Kevontae Henry, who was a reserve, didn't really see the field much at all. But now you've got Jordan Renaud, who was the primary backup for LT Overton. So, you had Keon Keeley hit the portal, and then now Jordan Renaud and Kevontae Henry, again, is the lone man standing. Now, don't get me wrong, you've got players coming in, right? You got the guy from Washington who actually is a true Bandit. We talked about the young man out of Southern Cal. Again, I said I think he settles in that Bandit if you're trying to put him in the best position for him to maybe feel comfortable. But I'm going to be completely honest with you. If you're going to do that, I mean, he's got to shed some weight. I mean, I think some people would just assume like, oh, yeah, he'll just play Bandit. I think a lot, and I'll be honest with you, Chase, I think a lot of people just think like, oh, you just line guys up across the defensive line like it's just easy to do. And it doesn't work like that. And that's why, I graded the guy as an interior defensive lineman. I think if he shed weight, he probably would be a better fit at Bandit, just his style of play, especially here at Alabama. Just some of the tape I had seen, man, the way he played in the interior, that just doesn't really fit what we do, unless they really just want him penetrating, and they don't mind, sometimes him being in some being a liability in the run game. But that said, I don't think he's necessarily a true Bandit. I think he might be forced to play there and maybe shed some weight, but he's a big dude. I mean, 6'5", 290. I mean, there's a clip of him walking on the USC practice field. That dude is not like a defensive end at all, but he might be forced into it. Because right now, Chase, as it stands, you got Kevontae Henry, and then you have some of the incoming guys. If Yanze, in fact, signs here with Alabama, which, that's the goal. But again, I need to see it official before I officially have him back on the team for 2026, just because I know how this works, and I've seen the trend with some of these guys, and I've talked to some folks. I'll just say this: he could potentially play some Bandit, but he's more of a Wolf. And then you would look at the depth at Wolf. You don't really have room to even move him if that is a possibility. Because right now, let's go back to Clint's chart. Shout out to Clint Lamb. Again, he does a great job spending a lot of time with these updated depth charts. Right now, looking on the defensive side of things, at Bandit, again, you got Kevontae Henry, the only guy coming back, other than you now have Caleb Smith, the transfer from Washington. I know Brandon Clear, former Clemson wide receiver, he's going to join us tomorrow. He asked us to look at some tape. There's no college tape on him. We looked at the young man's high school tape, and you guys know I'm just completely transparent with the breakdowns. I think he's more of just a depth piece. Hopefully maybe down the road he can develop and play. But right now, and I know it was his high school tape, and hopefully he's developed since then. But, just judging off his high school tape, he wasn't the most physical player. He didn't really pop for me. I'm just being completely honest with you. So I wouldn't expect him to be like a, plug and play guy. So you have no plug and play option at Bandit, really. Because Kevontae Henry last year was a ways behind. I mean, he got a couple reps in some pass rush situations, but he wasn't where they needed him to be to actually contribute. So you got a gaping hole right there at Bandit. And then at Wolf, very thin as well, right? I mean, you've got You should have Yonze Pierre, barring anything that comes up, and then Justin Hill. That's it. I don't even think they signed anybody. Clint even includes signees. There's no Wolves that sign. Now you have 3 guys that could fit the bill for Bandit. Maybe one of them could slide to play some Wolves. Don't get me wrong. You should have some bodies and maybe a little bit of help there. But listen, guys, I think we just have to be realistic and put things into perspective. I mean, we just got done with the year where we made it to the SEC championship game and also made a college football playoff appearance. Won the first round game, played in the end. Again, step in the right direction. Nobody's complaining about that. If you're complaining about the way we lost, I agree with you. Nothing wrong with that. But people still, let's just call a spade, expect more. If you look at where we're at right now with this roster and you expect us to be better or to get more out of it, I'm just going to be completely honest with you. I don't see what you're looking at. We have a lot of holes right now. Now, that said, we need to cover some ground. That's why I said that in that tweet. And we have time. I'm not saying it's all said and done, but these next couple of days in terms of before the portal closes will be critical because while we can still sign guys, whoever is in is in. So it's going to be, there's going to be a lot of attention on Courtney Morgan and that staff right now to bring guys in. And because I said this when it first started with Clint, and I still stand to this day saying the same thing. If you have the philosophy or the approach that you're okay with letting some of these guys walk, which again, some of these guys were, receiving other attention. I'm going to be honest with you. Because I've talked to agents, I've talked to people that have been involved. Some of these guys, it wasn't about money. Believe it or not, some of these guys that have left, it was not about money. Could have been about fit. Could have been about just overall just relationships, their trust. It could be a number of things. But again, if you're going to have the amount of guys leave, which again, it's normal. Everybody deals with it pretty much. It's imperative that you're bringing guys in that at least are the same caliber, if not better. The goal is better. But here's the problem, guys. I don't know if there's just that many good players in the portal that you can go get. There's just not. Now, you might recruit well, which we do, but now you're relying on youth in development, which I would also argue maybe our development hadn't been what it had been in the past. Couple bright spots, but there's a couple guys. Dejon Lee, he was like a 5-star coming out. Those guys a little bit different, right? But you got to give credit. Simmons, that's a great deal. Freddie Roach and Jamie Mosley, they saw him work in camp when he camped here. I remember him camping here, and they offered him then. Great find by those guys, right? Latsier Brooks, that's a good find by that staff. But all I'm saying is we've got a number of holes that we need to fill, and the clock's kind of ticking. And I'm not saying this to sound like a Debbie Downer, to be negative. You guys know I'm always going to shoot you guys straight, and I try to be as positive as possible, but also got to maintain my credibility with my honesty. And if I'm being completely honest with you right now, for the amount of guys that we lost, and while I don't necessarily, I agree for the most part with what HaHa said about, go watch the tape and tell me who exactly, were maybe what you guys perceived them to be. The issue is when it's at the level that we've seen, and you're losing guys like James Smith or Quay Russaw, even Jordan Renaud, right? Like, do I think those guys were all SEC elite guys? Not necessarily, but I know they had experience here, experience in college football. They were, cornerstone pieces that you could build around. They've proven what they could do and proven that they probably really have a lot more in them. We just had to get more out of them, which I thought you would have going into another season of college football. My concern comes, though, is, and I just talked about it when I did the interview with the Outkick. Look, the reality is right now, who we've brought in, for the most part, I would feel like a lot of these guys are more depth type guys, or guys that you're going to have to rely on the development factor. Ty Haywood, for example. I love the addition because we needed depth at offensive line. I think he could play a couple of different positions, but he's definitely going to compete at tackle. A talented guy, but he's raw. He didn't play at Michigan last year. He probably developed some behind the scenes, but still, there's no proven experience. He's still young. If you think about it, you basically just brought in another Jackson Lloyd, who you obviously weren't super comfortable with anyway because you're already searching for other guys. You get what I'm saying, though? Like, he's a young player who's got potential, but he hadn't shown it yet. The other young man from Michigan, same kind of deal. I think he played some reserve time, but you have a really young offensive line. And all I'm saying is if if the standard is what I expect everybody to probably agree with me on, and if you think what we did this past year still wasn't enough, I just don't know if the moves that we've made yet give me the confidence to say, all right, we're building, ourselves into a big 2026 just yet. Now a lot can change, and I expect there to be more movements. I'm just telling you where I'm at with where things are right now. This could be by tomorrow. We could get 5 commits today, and tomorrow looks totally different. We have 4 guys that come in here with experience that I think are upgrades, and we're having a whole different conversation. I'm just telling you, as of today, January 14th, I do have concerns with where we're at right now, and I think that's very fair. And I think if you're honest with yourselves, you would agree. So that's just kind of where I'm at. I'll give you some ideas on where we could go with some of this stuff, but right now, initially, was before we had some of these guys on the defensive side hit the portal, I was pretty solid with our defense, right? I felt pretty good about where we were at. But right now, I'll be honest, man, we're really thin, and I think we got to get the ball going. I'm trying to get some guys with experience and proven production if you want to really feel good about 2026. The good news is, I guess, in this is if you're anticipating maybe 2027 could be a really big year because these guys will have a year of experience under the belt. A lot of the guys that we're bringing in have a lot of potential. Don't get me wrong there. Just might be more of a 2027 type year. My thing is, though, you see the reaction from the fan base from this past year. Year 3, in my opinion, Chase, I thought would had to be a nice, decent step up. I thought if you took a step back, that could be some trouble. So I don't know. Those are just my thoughts, and I'm curious to get y'all's. We'll do that when we come back. We got to hit a timeout. We got Smitty on the phone lines. We'd love to get others. 205-342-9904. Hit us up if you guys want to get in on the conversation. Come check us out on the stream. We're hanging out. You can watch me do the show, interact with the chat, and we can always answer your questions right here on the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Quick timeout. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Do you have crack? All right. Hopefully you guys get where I'm coming from, because I know sometimes when you're just being honest like this, it comes off. People think, "Oh, he's being negative," but I promise I'm not. I'm just being real with you guys, because I agree with QD down in the chat. Like, I know how this whole thing works, and I've figured our fan base out. When people are being honest about probably what's expected or what's probably going to be the case, you got some fans that get frustrated because they don't want to hear it. They get mad. They think you're being a hater. They think you're being negative. And then when it actually happens, they're even more critical than the person that was kind of just trying to give you a heads up. For example, like Indiana. Like, if you sat there and said, "Hey, man, Indiana's a good football team. I'm worried about us in this game if we don't play our A game." I said that. I didn't get bad feedback, but I'm just saying, I'm sure people are probably like, "Oh," we did have some people trying to tell me, "Oh, man, you're giving Indiana too much credit. You're giving Oklahoma too much credit." Lost both those football games. Said I was concerned about the Georgia matchup. Lost that football game. Hell, Chase picked Georgia. He had the balls to do it. I was like, "Man, I can't do that. These folks are going to get mad." But I'll be honest with you. I felt strongly that Georgia had a good shot in that game. But then when people see it, I mean, they go hard. So I think this probably could be one of those deals. Right now, they're not trying to hear it. But if we're just being honest, like, that's what I'm saying. If you take the glasses off and you look at our roster right now, and even compare it to our roster last year, I just don't see how you think that, like, we've upgraded. I really don't. Personally. Now, don't get me wrong. These young guys could step up. Like, I'm not saying everything that I'm saying is 100%. Oh, that's going to be the case. I'm like, all I'm getting at is you are very reliant on youth. You're putting a lot of eggs in the basket of youth. And to me, that approach, which is the clear approach right now from this staff, it kind of has me kind of scratching my head, because I'll be honest with you, when they started letting people walk, and I'm gonna keep it a buck with you guys. I talk to a lot of people in that building, man. I really do. There's a lot of stuff I know that I just don't say on here, and I just kind of just weave around it. I'm just gonna keep it a buck with you, man. I'm trying to understand kind of the philosophy. And listen, I'm letting them. Number one, I have no choice. And I ain't got nothing. I have no say. But I'm trying to trust in what they're doing. in their approach. But if I'm keeping it honest, man, like I'm kind of confused on our approach right now. I am. Only given the fact that I'm like going into year 3, like year 3 is probably a really big year for this staff. But they're almost treating it like they're hitting the whole reset button. And I'm like, I don't think that really I just don't really line up. You guys understand what I'm saying? I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just being honest. I'm like, to me, I think it's a risky game. I do. It's evident they're trying to get their guys in here. I'm not. It is what it is. They're the coaches now. But that's a risky game to be playing going on year 3 when there's a little pressure right now, given the way we finished the year. And welcome back into this hump day edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Let's go ahead and rock and roll. Go straight to the phone lines, 205-342-9904. We got Smitty up first. Smitty, talk to me, man. I don't know if you heard some of my comments while you're waiting, but what's on your mind, man? Talk to me.
First, I would never hate on the Panthers again. This is going to be with you, man. I'm kidding, man. Here's the thing. Here's the thing, right? First thing first, it comes to tie. And this is a big picture issue in college football, right? And it's no knock on Ty, because I believe he's a very, very good quarterback. The reason Miami offered him $6.5 million reportedly is because they were too lazy to recruit and develop high school quarterbacks. They wanted to pay on the portal. And guess what happened this year? There ain't no more good portal quarterbacks out there for them to get. So it's supply and demand. Remember, I had Cam Ward 1 year. Then Carson Beck. They gave Carson Beck $4 million, and they don't want him to throw the football.
Fair.
And now they say, man, we don't have a high school quarterback. We don't have anybody young. So guess what? We got to hope Ty takes this money. But Ty may have been just like Milro. You've been school 4 years. You got your degree. You're ready to move on with your life. You don't want to uproot, move, and learn another system, which could hurt your draft stock if it doesn't work out that well, and plus injury. Because you got to remember, Nussmeier lost money coming back. Like 10 years ago, Matt Barkley lost money coming back. Take your chances in the league and get that guaranteed money. And let's be real. Some of these kids ain't even getting all the NIL money promised to them. We know that. But just go live your life, make your decision, and be through with it. And it should be a lesson to these teams. You might want to start recruiting high school quarterbacks so you can have a young guy on your roster who's cheaper than $6.5 million. But when it comes to the team, I need fans and media to stop freaking out and let it play out. People, the deadline to enter the portal is Friday. You can still have visits and sign players well after that. So we have to remember that as well. And when it comes to experience, like everybody talking about Jordan Seaton, he was a day one starter at Colorado. He had to get experience somehow. The only way to get experience is playing. Is getting your lumps and seeing what you have.
Right.
Now, I'm sorry people don't want to hear that, but people need to stop overreacting to Indiana. That's a lightning in a bottle situation. Many of those guys were with Cincinnati from jump. And let's be real here also. I'm not going to say no to Dijon Lee because I want somebody who's too old to be on their mom and daddy insurance. I'm not saying no to that. Just being real. He took his lumps, but look at him. Michael Carroll, freshman. We thought he was going to be a guard, but he turned out to be a freshman All-American right tackle. He had his lumps, but hey, pretty good. One of the best offensive linemen we had on our roster. I just need fans to stop freaking out and let the process play out. Because after 2 years, and I'll say this real quick, I forgot. When it comes to development, Josh Quaver started his career at Cal Poly. And we was all getting ready to get this guy a cortisone shot to play with a broken foot. Let's just be real. That's development. Some players just made some players, and it's not a knock because this is the same thing in the NFL draft, recruiting. When it used to be 25 guys you signed, all 25 guys weren't going to be first round picks. You'd be lucky if half of those guys lived up to the potential of their rating. Some people just may end up being depth pieces because you still need depth pieces on these rosters. The NFL signed backups. Everybody's not going to be a star. And the one thing I would say, Christian, these fans need to be happy that players want to play here. That Mississippi State defensive tackle, Bingley Jones, I hope I ain't butchered the young man's last name. I apologize if I did. He out there clowning the man because he's a 3-star. Guess who was a 3-star, guys? Tim Keenan. Bray Hubbard. Tim Keenan is going to be in the NFL. Bray is going to be in the NFL once he's done next year. And those tackles, you know this, they go put up gaudy stats. They do their job to free things open for you guys. And we should be happy. People want to come here. Every player, I am happy if they 5-star or 0 stars. If they want to come here and be a part of Alabama, I'm happy for them.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for ranting. I just hate
No, I think it's good stuff. I'll be honest. I don't agree with everything, and I'll tell you what.
You never do.
No, then that's what it's about. That's what I love it. No, and I love it though. I love. No, but listen, you're well informed and you present it well. No, this is what I'll give you a little pushback on. My thing is, and I'm with you, Smitty. Like I don't ever, you know us. So, and I know you're talking about a lot of fans, social media. So you're not talking about me, but a lot of people get caught up in the ratings and rankings. Just like I said on Outkick earlier, that never meant anything to me. Why? Because I actually watch tape. I don't go off. I could care less what a site says. No disrespect to these sites because it's great content. I get that. But I'm just saying, I go off of what my eyes see. So when you hear me just saying, like, I have concerns about who we brought in at this point, like, don't get me wrong. And I agree with what you said. Not everybody's going to be a star. Not everybody's going to be a guy that you just expect to go be all SEC, top draft pick. And I understand all those things. My pushback to you would be, out of everybody that we've brought in to replace what we've lost. That's my thing. Listen, to me, if we didn't lose as many of like the key pieces that we lost, the guys that we brought in, I'm cool with. My issue is when you lose a lot of staple pieces, I get they might not have had the biggest production on paper, but you're talking about guys that are proven players that have played. Jordan Renaud, I'll be honest with you. I watched this tape and there's times I was like, man, I mean, I'm not like that impressed with what I'm seeing. But here's something that you guys don't know. The dude was dealing with not just one, but I think 2 shoulder injuries, not to spread information, just being honest. He probably would tell you that. I mean, Ty shares some information about it. These guys are more banged up so than you guys might realize. And then also, I value experience. What are we talking about, Indiana? I know you're saying lightning in a bottle, but it is true. Like, I value experience, especially at this level, especially when you get to playing these other good teams. I mean, look at Oregon, a team full of talent. They go play guys that have a bunch of experience that are bought into a great system with really good coaching, and you see what happens. I'm just saying, for me, I agree. You're right. The portal closes, but it's still open, and that's why I tell everybody every day, be patient. I'm not saying like, oh, we're having to hit the panic, but no. I always tell people to do the opposite. Just wait. But every day that passes, I am just kind of waiting. That I'm like, all right, do they have a plan? Or are we just kind of trying to figure out as we go? Because right now, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think we had the best approach throughout this portal process. I'm just being completely transparent. Because with the amount of players that we've lost, even if they might not have been the flashiest players on paper, they were significant pieces that have been in the system, have been playing college football, that you could rely on. And the people that you replace them with, I'll be honest with you. Like, for example, like Tompkins from Southern Cal. I'm not trying to sound, negative towards him. I love that he wanted to come play here and get an opportunity to play in that crimson jersey. I'm just keeping it honest with you guys because that's what y'all asked my opinion. When I watch this tape, I don't think he's a great fit. I just don't. He doesn't really play the run in a physical fashion, which you guys complain to me all the time about us not stopping the run. But then when I tell you guys he's not a very physical player against the run, people just want to ignore it. So I'm like, you got to make up your mind. Do you guys want to be a physical team against stopping the run and actually get back to that? Or are you going to just ignore that and just say, oh, well, he's the number 3 guy right in the portal. I'm telling you with what my eyes just showed me. Now, I think he could be played in a better position and but what I'm saying is, for what we need, he kind of is a little bit of a tweener. He's kind of too big to be a true bandit or an edge. He don't really like being physical when he's down inside. So I'm just saying, if you lose a guy like James Smith, forget production. James Smith, you know what you can do with that dude. When you lose some of these other guys, that's why I have some, I guess I might as well just say a little bit of a concern. I'm not saying Yeah, I'm gonna be patient, but I'm just telling you from what I know. That's just very fair to say because I know the standard here at Alabama and what fans expect, and I also know what my eyes tell me. And if you guys want to be, making a run for a national championship, I'm just saying where we're at currently, right now. I'm not saying it can't change in 2 days. Where we're at currently, we've got some ground to cover. That's just calling a spade a spade. If people don't want to hear that, I'm sorry, but that's just honesty.
Here's my thing, right? Maybe I don't have national championship or bust expectations. My thing is always been like the
I don't
NFL.
either. I don't either. I'm talking about the fans.
Yeah.
Like I said, my thing is as long as you are in contention to compete, I think that's about all you can ask. That's why I said even when Kalen DeBoer got here, I didn't expect him to go even maybe win one championship. If he did, awesome. As long as he at least put us in the playoff conversation, I think that's fair. And I think that's where we're trending. But the problem is, in my head, you need to build off of what we just did this past year, year two. Right now, where the roster stands, I have concerns about that. Just honest.
Can I drop this real quick? First,
go ahead.
Part of the NIL issues is maybe we start giving Nick Saban $500,000 a year. But here's the other thing.
Hey, hold on. Remember, the school is different now. The school is paying Coach Saban.
Hey,
the school came
down.
I don't think that has an effect. Come on now.
Hey, I'm just saying, instead of advocating for Lane Kiffin on TV, but here's the other thing. I'll say this real quick. Texas is like, they had their offensive line stunk. They brought all these skilled players and addressed offensive line. They may do a season. Ohio State is complaining about their offensive line, and they lost so many players. Alabama's not the only team in this position. And nor our fan base is the only one complaining about it. Everybody's going through it. And the portal is nothing more than moving deck chairs. That's all it is nowadays. But hey, you have a good one. And thanks for taking my call. I know I'll be probably pick my call up again around St. Patrick's Day. But yeah,
no, never that. Man, I always try to get you on, Smitty. I appreciate you, brother. Be easy, man.
Thank you, brother.
Yes, sir. Always. That's my guy, Smitty. Chase, appreciate you letting us go over a little bit. I owed my guy some time, man. All right, we got to hit the top of the hour of the break. When we come back, don't go anywhere. We're just getting started. You guys want to jump in again? I want to get y'all's thoughts. You guys agree with me? If you disagree with me, let's talk about it. 205-342-9904 is the number. Quick timeout. We'll be right back. What do you guys think, man? I want to hear it. Seriously, be honest with me. Be honest, because I know there's probably some people that have some pushback. They might not necessarily agree, but I'm curious. I want to get y'all's thoughts on it. You ain't got to call in if you guys want to. I'd love for you. I'd love to talk to you guys, but we can read the chats too. Let me pull up my email because I know we had some what's it called? Some app messages that I might have missed. Let's see. Let me just save some. I'm just going. Let me just be honest with you guys. We got a lot of positive movement right now with what we're doing. So I'm not gonna say we have any huge stuff necessarily right now, but I'm just telling you right now, it's kind of trending that way. And just go keep praying that everything's going the way it's going. Because I'll be honest with you, man, we might be growing. We might be growing a lot faster than I even realized. Which is a huge blessing. And big thanks to you guys for all the support. Let's see what you guys have been saying about the conversation. Let's see. I don't even know where I was at. Lottie was a 3-star. Yeah, look, great find on Lottie, for real. I mean, again, you got to give credit where it's due. But to me, I put Lottie and Simmons in a different bracket than a guy like Dejon Lee. Wasn't he a 5-star? I think he was a 5-star. Xavier Brown, I know Coach Saban recruited him, but you know what I mean? Like, not taking away from the development piece, but those guys a little bit different when you go recruit a top prospect and they're kind of living up to those expectations versus a guy that wasn't expected to contribute much and he ends up making a big impact. Still going to have folks saying be patient. We still got time next month, even if we don't nearly get enough bodies. Yeah, and that's all I'm trying to remind people, that we need to be patient now because, I mean, there's still a lot of moving pieces. But this conversation could look a lot different in a good way or a bad way, hell, even a week from now. Because, yes, I mean, the names that are in there, they're in there. But I'm just telling you, from speaking to different coaches, not just here, but various places, man, that they'll even tell you there's not like a lot of these guys that enter the portal. To HaHa's point, I know I'm back and forth with that, but for some of it, it's true. Others, I don't necessarily fully agree, but a lot of these guys that are in the portal, guys, you got to remember, I mean, a lot of them were backups. There's not like a whole bunch of like proven starters in there. I'm not saying you have to have that. I mean, you can like hell, we could literally have a bunch of young guys step up and be big impact players and better than what again, anything can happen. But we go off of tendency. We're going off of what we've seen, right? I don't know if I could say I fully am confident in the development all across the board to rely that heavily on a young football team going in this year. And listen, if we're honest with ourselves, anybody would agree with that, I feel like. I mean, tell me otherwise. Seriously, please. Like, I'm genuinely curious. If you guys think I'm wrong on that, please tell me otherwise. Because I would argue, I mean, we had older guys, good players, and I feel like we didn't necessarily get the most out of all those guys. So now you're expecting that out of young guys. Maybe if the buy-in looks a little bit different because they're, DeBoer guys. I guess there's a case to be made with that. And we're back on this hump day edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. And there you go. You got my dogs are chiming in. I guess they wanted to hop on the phone lines. 205-342-9904 is the number if you guys want to get on the conversation. We just got done talking with Smitty. Now we're going to just go back to the phone lines. Let's keep it rolling. That way I can get you guys on quick. That way you guys actually want to call in. I don't want to run people off, man. We got QD up next. Go straight to him. QD, welcome in.
Hey, what's up, bro? It's been a minute, man.
There he is. QD been hiding, man. Where you been at, man?
No, man, just work, man. You know what I'm saying? Doing the times of the show. But I be engaged, on the chat, man,
Yes, sir.
So, but yeah, I was like, let me call in, man, for real, though, because, look, listen, bro. One, yeah, man, I'm seeing, good things with you, brother, you know what I'm saying? And I can tell that, like you said, it's going to take off a little bit for you, man. So congratulations on that. But, hey, don't change, bro, with breaking down these players on the tape. That's all I care about. I don't care about stars. I don't care about portal rankings. I care about the tape. And I'm not offended by how you break down these players that Bama's brought in based off the tape, because I think a lot of our fans look at those portal rankings, and that you can't just go by that. You know what I mean? If you're not bringing in a surefire starter from another team that produced there and hit the portal, all these other guys, man, are gambles, right? And so I do have concerns like you, man. I mean, yeah, we let players leave that may not got the production or didn't meet the production we thought, all our James Smith, all our crew saw. But if you're not going to bring in somebody equally, same production or better, you losing.
Right.
Potential don't win at Bama. Hey, you got to produce, man, and that's my concern. My concerns are on the offense and defensive line, brother.
Right.
Young but talented, but inexperienced. This is what I say, Christian. This year's team, with all the experience, all the money they brought, put in retention, retaining to bring the team back, they almost lost 4 games. So what we expect, realistic fans going to expect this year from a young team. If this team we just had almost lost 4 games, what are we going to be here and be unrealistic and chapstick and be sunshine pumping and say, oh, this team can be even better than this last year team, and we let all this talent go out the door and we didn't replace it with the same amount of talent?
Right.
I'm going to be real with you, bro. I don't have the same level of trust in Jalen Milro as say if I had his Nick Saban. If Nick Saban had this roster turnover, the fans wouldn't be uproar like this. We'll have that level of trust. Oh, Coach Saban, he know what he's doing. Oh, we good there. But it's the fans don't have that level of trust with Kalen DeBoer. So with all this change going on in the portal, how we got destroyed in the Rose Bowl, how we got our ass whipped in the SEC championship game, there's not the level of trust, Christian, from the fan space with Kalen DeBoer. That's where all this anxiety and crashing out comes from. There's no trust there, man.
Yeah.
We don't trust them. I know one of them. I mean, when you get your ass whipped 3 times in the season in Alabama, it's hard for me to trust you, bro. Florida State, Georgia, Indiana. I'm just keeping it real. That's how I am as a fan. I love my Tide. I would love for them to be in playoff contention every year, but I don't know what's going on with this right here, brother. I just don't.
Well, I'll say this.
That's why I listen to you. I listen to Clint. I'm like, give me something, man.
Yeah, listen, no, and you know me, man. I try my best to always try to find. We're going to pull some positives, and because I am a firm believer, not just to say it to make people feel good, but I really am a firm believer, man. Like, you know, it is important to go off tendencies, go off the eye test, but there is still another thing that's called faith. There's another thing that, you know, you see times where something's not supposed to happen a certain way, but it sure enough does because of the belief of people coming together and with the, you know, common goal. That said, listen, everything you just said, I think is fair to the extent of, you know, in terms of that, like the trust. It's not that, oh, you know, because of Coach Saban this, because I know people always, when people compare, number one, what do you expect? He's the guy following Coach Saban. He knew better than anybody. Everything he did was going to be compared to Coach Saban. But it's not even so much that. It's what you said. It's the manner in which we lost when we did lose. He will even tell you himself when Mark Ingram went on his podcast and they were joking around about Mark apologizing to him, he followed it up by saying, listen, that comes with the territory when you don't play well. Kalen DeBoer himself said that. He's not dumb. He understands that. And that's a very fair point. When you lose in those, again, because I know I sound like a broken record, but it's so true. Like even me as a former player, I promise you, I'm more passionate than probably most because I mean, I know what I gave to this program and everybody else alongside me. I have no, like, perfection that's not what we're looking for, but we're looking for competition. We're looking for passion. And that we didn't see that against Indiana. We didn't see that against Georgia in the SEC championship game. We didn't see it against Florida State. Those, to me, that's a very fair reason to have a little bit lack of trust when it comes to certain things. Because to me, I'm just like, man, like, yes, if someone wants to throw in the California championship game with us, which that happened one time, again, I think in how many years, we're out in California. A lot of guys had a bunch. I'm telling you right now, I was a captain on the team. I couldn't play because of my hamstring, but guys doing stuff they shouldn't have been doing, not locked in. Agents were hovering the hotels. Everybody just assumed, all right, we just beat everybody's ass this whole year and then just beat Oklahoma with Kyler Murray, the Heisman Trophy winner. We're just going to go handle business at Clemson. And I tried over and over to preach to our dudes, we got to get out this mindset. I could sense it. So that's one thing. But when you've done it several times, 3 times this season, then if you go back to last season where there was the Oklahoma game on the road, hell, even, Vanderbilt, I know they're a better team, but still, if you go back and watch, even like our defensive performance, I don't think we had a great game plan. That's what I'm saying. If you understand football, you're not judging them like, they lost. No. You're judging them by how they lost because you're looking at like, man, not only were we not really prepared from a mental standpoint, but from a schematic standpoint, we didn't look like we had a great game plan. I'm going to be honest with you, offensively, like with Ryan Grubb, I didn't walk away impressed from his first season here as I thought I would. Going into the year, I was like, man, he was who they had at Washington. They had a Joe Moore. I know that they didn't bring that coach with them, but the Joe Moore award-winning offensive line, 1,000-yard rusher. I mean, one of the most explosive offense in the country. I had a lot of expectations. I know I heard the stuff of, what he did with Seattle, but I was like, man, I mean, he's back with Kalen DeBoer. That's a big difference, right? Than just going on a limb and being in the NFL. Well, watching this offense, listen, man, if you know football, you know when coaches have rhythm, you know when an offense is flowing, when guys are doing things and putting their players in the best position. I didn't see that. I just didn't. That's just a fact. And to me, that's a cause of concern, and it goes back to what you initially said. If we had an offensive line with a bunch of – think about it. Caden Proctor was a junior. Dewberry, I mean, played a lot of SEC football. Parker Brailsford, very experienced player. Guard, I know you had some issues on the right side. A young guy over at tackle competing with Formby. But now you're looking at an offensive line with all those guys except Carroll are gone and everybody else coming in. Right now on paper, the oldest is a redshirt sophomore. And you expect even just to be as good. Hell, it could be as good or better. Hopefully it's even better. Maybe they're better fits. But I'm just saying, like, you're over-reliant on youth, in my opinion. And in this day and age, if you can't tell, look at all the teams we're making. You're not seeing a bunch of just youth running the table. It just said that the college football is in a different space. So that's all we're saying. It's not to sound negative. It's not to sound like, oh, the staff can't do it. I'm not saying that. At least from my perspective, all I'm saying is some of the moves that I've seen, I'm not sure if that's necessary. To me, I feel like it's a little bit more of a risky approach. It comes off as, hey, we're going to try to do it our way. We're going to get our guys in here, even if they're young. But my thing is the timing of it on going into year 3 on an important year, in my opinion, given on how we finished the year this past season, with the bad loss to Georgia and Indiana. I feel like that's a little bit of a risky game you're playing. Like 2027, I feel like this roster could be really good. But 2026, where we stand right now, it feels really young and it feels like it's over-reliant on youth and potential. And that, to me, looking at this schedule, because we do not have an easy schedule, that does cause a little concern.
Agree. That's all I'm saying. It's young, but it's talented, but it's inexperienced. And some of these coaches, I don't like to call for nobody to lose their job. I mean, I'm a professional myself. I don't like for anybody to call lose their job. But these coaches also know this is the game they decide to participate in and know that comes along their territory. They got to be coaching changes too. And maybe that's coming, man. Maybe that's part of it too. I think the fan base may feel a little bit more confident on offensive line development if there's a new offensive line coach. Some other coaching changes, they may feel, it may feel a little bit better. But I'm saying what we currently have and the current, it's a lot of doubt. You know what I mean? It just is. There's a lot of doubt, bro, from me.
Well, like I said, I mean, even somebody like me, bro, like I've been to a lot of practices and scrimmages. So the young guys that we have on the team, I've seen them. Like I know what we have in those guys, and I've watched tape on the incoming guys. I'm just telling you, even from my eyes, like in terms of like defensive line play, which I said that needs to be, we need to get some dudes, right? Offensive line, like you said, we need to get some dudes. To me, like I'm like, man, we talked about how important those spots are. I just don't know if the actions so far to this point have necessarily lined up with what I expected. I didn't expect us to get into bidding wars. I told you guys that. I didn't expect that. But I did think we'd probably see a little bit more veteran, presence coming in via the portal. And for some reason, I don't know. And maybe it's coming on the back end, which I hope that is the case. But we'll have to see, man. We'll have to see. Really interesting stuff right now.
We have to see. It's a gamble, man. Good gamble. I mean, I think the coaching staff is gambling on themselves to develop talent. And we just got to see.
I agree 100%.
See, bro.
I agree 100%. QD, man, I appreciate you calling, man. Good to hear from you.
Already, brother.
Yes, sir. Be easy,
Roll
brother.
Tide.
Yes, sir. Roll Tide. Good deal. We got to hit a timeout. We come back. We keep on rolling. We got some new folks, it looks like, on the phone lines. We got North Kakalaki. We got Kentucky. Hey, I'm rocking with it, man. We're going to come to you guys when we come back right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
Weather brought.
Agree. Grubb's trying to fit a square into a round hole. Listen, I don't even know if I would say so much. Listen, this is what I kind of gathered. To me, it felt like he had a lot of things that he could go to, and he kind of just was like doing just that. We didn't have great rhythm with our offense. Like, take away like the offensive line or the backs doing, like, we didn't commit to the running game, and it felt like we kind of were just all over the place. The game plan didn't feel very fluid. Like that, to me, that's, I mean, if you want to describe that as, fitting a square into a round hole or square peg, whatever, but to me, it just is more like out of rhythm, like no flow to it. And it's hard, to expect players to, execute at a high level when you're calling things like that, honestly. Really want someone else from the portal to fill the need at Wolf and Bandit. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. At some point, that's what I'm saying. At some point, I think the philosophy might shift. We're not necessarily going to get into these bidding wars, but I'm telling you, where the roster stands right now, you might not have a choice. You got to get some experience. Like I'm telling you, that the guy from Washington, man, he redshirted last year. I don't know where he's at in his development, but and again, I try to be like, I don't want to sound negative, but if a guy doesn't just flash on tape, I have to be honest about that. And most of these guys that we like, let's go back over the list real quick. Well, hold on. Let me do this real quick. Let me get to my guy, Adam. This next segment is brought to you by our guy, Adam Lamparello. Y'all check him out in some capacity. We're going to get Adam's info however you can support him, the way he supports us, man. But again, shout out to Adam Lamparello, man. I just at some point, I'm just going to say, I don't know, hour number 2 brought to you by Adam. Christian, I worry the defensive talent just isn't at the same level as peak Alabama years. And it's definitely not, man. You're not wrong there. Like 2016, you, Ruben, Jonathan Allen, Minka, Deron Payne, and others, do you see a real talent gap now, or is it about evaluation development? No, I mean, I don't think anybody has a roster like that, to be fair. I mean, Ohio State had some dudes for sure, but I don't think anybody nowadays, especially, I think talent is a lot more dispersed. So, you know, I don't think you expect to have a team like that probably anytime soon, just the way things are. Unless you're Texas and you're just, I mean, spending unlimited funds, at least that's what it feels like. In terms of the talent gap, you know, with other schools, I don't feel like there's as big of a margin because even, I mean, hell, I'm seeing schools like Cal or even whoever, you know, pick up solid players. I mean, with the transfer portal / NIL system, I mean, anybody can. Missouri, look at Missouri's roster. Missouri went from like it's Missouri type deal to with NIL. Missouri, they got them some dudes, man. They really did. They have some good talent, and they've been a pretty solid team over the last few years. So it's interesting how it works. But I'll say this, like I said the other day, Adam, man, for us with our philosophy, the way we're approaching right now by getting young players with potential, evaluation development is, I mean, imperative. Is so much higher than maybe it would be if you're recruiting older, experienced players. And to me, I'm just like, man, on a year like this, I just feel like that's kind of an interesting approach. Personally, I do, because I just know fans might not admit it right now, but I'm telling you right now, if we get when we get to the season and say we lose 2 regular season games and we're on the bubble again, even though that's not bad at all, I'm telling you right now, we all know how fans are going to react. That's just a fact. Like, just call a spade a spade. Fans freak out even if there's 2 losses. So it sounds good right now, but I'm just telling you, it's going to shift when it's actually in your face. So. But thank you so much, Adam. Seriously. Well, I'll piggyback on that in a second. Let me get one of these calls. And welcome back into this Hump Day edition of Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Let's keep rolling on the phone lines. Looks like we got some new callers potentially. 205-342-9904. We got JR from Wilmington back in North Kakalaki, man. Welcome in.
Hey, man. Thank you. Thank you, Christian. Hey, real quick, because I'm in kind of a bad area now, headed to Charlotte. But
oh, man.
I just wanted to say first off how much I love your show, how much I loved watching you play. I've been an Alabama fan for 60 years, and I am I used to say I'm the biggest Tide fan that never lived in the state or went to the school. So I'm a diehard, absolute diehard, and I've heard all the conversation. I'm concerned, just like I think a lot of us are. But what I don't understand is I thought the portal was to fill in around what we needed. And I guess I just don't understand how we let a guy like Keon Keeley, who was coming on the way he was coming on, and Yanzi, I just don't understand what we need to do to hang on to the talent. And also my other question was, and I'll let you go, is is I did not realize, are you actually able to contact players before the portal is open? And that's the part that I've been a little confused on, that can you actually try to recruit other players away from teams? And that's because it seems like that's what's going on. So I was just curious.
Yeah, no, great stuff. If you want to hang on the line and respond, you're welcome to do that. I know you mentioned maybe going through a spot. If you want to hang up and listen, either way.
Yeah, I'll try to hang on.
Yeah, it's perfect. I was about to say we got you loud and clear, but and thank you, number one, first and foremost, for your compliments, both on me playing. I was all right back in the day, but I appreciate you mentioning that, and also about the show, man. Thank you, seriously. We've been growing, and I love hearing all our new listeners, or even listeners that have been listening, and we're now hearing a little bit more from you guys. But to answer your question, so I'll start with the second part first. That is not legal. That would be considered tampering for sure. But I'm just going to be honest with you. Everybody does it, and they just do it through various channels, whether that's family, representation, high school coaches. Listen, there's a lot of guys that they know during the season they're going to end up in the portal, and these coaches have an idea, because when you recruit players, you build relationships. Like, I was recruited to come here, but if there is a transfer portal, I guarantee you, I mean, guys like T-Rob, who coached here, I mean, I was close with him coming out of high school. Other coaches, on the Florida staff, whether it's Georgia, I guarantee you, especially like me, I probably would have been a very hot commodity, not because I was just, some awesome player. No, probably because we had so much depth, and people probably knew, hey, man, Christian's, rotating with Ryan Anderson and Tim Williams. Let's probably see, if he's interested. He's a young pass rusher that we think we could get him on campus and he could excel for us. He's just behind some depth. So that's how it typically works. They probably would have hit my dad is a very outspoken guy. You can find him on social media. He's a pastor. He does media himself. I'm sure people probably would maybe try to hit his line. He has a lot of connection to coaching world. Hey, man, just wanted to see what, what's Christian's thoughts on things. So that's typically how it works. I know a lot of people are questioning that with Ty mentioning that. I think with him, I mean, I'm sure that probably would fall under tampering, but with him, I guess kind of leaning towards the draft, maybe is a little bit, maybe there'll be a leniency there. I don't know, but you're not supposed to do it, but it happens. The other part is in terms of letting guys go. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I mean, every situation is different. I hate it for some of these guys, because what happens is when people see a player leave, especially these guys that have contributed, they immediately assume that, oh, he's chasing the bag. And I'm just telling you, I mean, I speak to these players. I speak to guys that might represent them. And I'll be the first one to tell you, not all these guys, I argue, I mean, I don't know the percentage. A number of them probably, yes, want more opportunity. Another, some might want more money. Some might actually, believe it or not, just not feel confident in the system that they're playing in. I mean, you got to think the ultimate goal is to get to the NFL. And whether people want to believe this or not, some guys, they might not necessarily like how they're being played. And they might think there might be a better, like, I'll give you an example. I'm just going to flat out say it. Like James Smith and Quay Russaw, that was not about money. Anybody that knows, that's in the know, they understand that was not a money thing. People are going to assume that because they are key pieces. But if you talk to any people behind the scenes, I'm not even saying people like Coach, I'm saying even like people that are heavily involved in the process right now with, boosters and stuff like that, they would tell you, I mean, like those guys, those are Alabama guys. I mean, they really enjoyed Alabama, but there could have been, maybe a doubt in terms of their fit, how they're being utilized. It could be a number of things. So in some instances, I mean, guys, the coaches probably didn't have a choice. I mean, guys might have had their decision. And now I'm sure they fought to get some of these guys back, and others, they probably actually, maybe in their mind said, well, if he chooses to leave, we're not going to pursue him. And I know that's definitely been the case too with people all over the country. So yeah, the coaches have a choice. I mean, and at the end of the day, they have to go with what they feel like is best for the program. And to me, I mean, just from my perspective, not even going off of anybody, I would say what it looks like to me is that this staff is moving in the direction of they want to get their guys in. That's what it feels like. Because if you're letting a guy like Renaud and James Smith and Quay Russaw, like we're seeing these guys, they pack up and leave. And I know for a fact that several of them is not even about money. That says something clearly like that. I mean, the writing's on the wall. So is it the right decision? Time will tell. I don't think, you can't judge them for it. I mean, hell, they inherited some of these guys. They weren't necessarily their players. So that's fair. My issue is, though, I just feel like it's a little risky just knowing how thin we are right now. I just feel like they
Right.
might have been a little too comfortable with that approach, thinking, oh, we'll just be able to we'll get our guys in here. And now you find yourself kind of scrambling a little bit saying, all right, well, hell, time's kind of ticking. We need to get not even just good players, we need bodies. And my philosophy is if you let good players go, you sure as hell better replace them with good players coming in, at least of the same caliber, if not better. And right now,
Right.
we're still a little thin. So hopefully they can cover some ground over, the course of the next, hell, whether it's a few days, week, 2 weeks, or however long it takes. But we've got to get some good players in here if we want to continue to build off of some of the progress we saw in year 2.
Absolutely. I come into Tuscaloosa every year. I remember the first time walking into Bryant-Denny. I was probably the biggest kid in the entire stadium. I felt like it. And now I'm bringing my grandsons and my granddaughters, and they all bleed crimson. And the first thing that when my grandson was born, he came home in an Alabama blanket. And so yeah, my office is kind of a bit like a shrine. But like I said, I'm eat up with it. I love it. But I love my team, and I love my and I love my coaches, and I'm going to support them. And
Absolutely.
I just hope that things get better. Last thing I want to say was I was there when Jonathan Allen made the Superman tackle against Texas A&M.
Oh yeah.
And that happened right in front of us at that game. And like I said, every year we try to get down there. So, hey, God bless you. I'm also a pastor as well. I work in the recovery community.
Oh, nice.
Working with folks that have battled substance abuse. And
That's awesome.
I just love it. It's a passion. The good Lord, he saved me from that life of addiction 36 years ago. And so, he's given me breath to continue now to try to lead others in the same path. So anyway,
awesome.
Christian, thank you for all you do, bud. All right.
No, thank you. Seriously, I love that, and I know my dad would love it as well. And we always try to push that on our show when we can. And so we definitely appreciate all the good work you're doing, JR. Thank you so much for the support and in that phone call. We got to hit a timeout when we come back. We'll go back to the line. We'll keep on rolling. We'll read some of the chat because we got a lot of comments going right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. We got Jay from Kentucky when we come back right here on the Miller's Edge. Don't go anywhere.
The Tuscaloosa Thread News Update is brought.
Really cool stuff, man. I love getting to meet virtually, all our listeners. So cool, man. I really enjoy it. But yeah, Adam, to just put a cap on that. I feel like there is a little bit of a talent gap still, but I feel like the margin has shrunk a lot. And that's why you're seeing a team like Oregon. I mean, like just look at our roster last year. I mean, we definitely had some good players, but I would argue Oregon, Ohio State, hell, people might not know the people on Indiana's team, but I'm telling you right now, just from an eye test, they got good players. All right. Miami. I mean, all their rosters are at least as good as what we have, at least, if not better. So that's the new day and age. I mean, it's been shaken up a little bit. Hell, like I said, Missouri, I would argue Missouri probably had a decent amount of talent. I'd argue we had a little bit more, but I mean, just look at some of the guys they had. 2 edge rushers that are definitely Sunday guys, a couple guys in their secondary, good players. I mean, a stable of running backs. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot more even than ever. We got a $1 super chat from Sky. Sky, thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. Appreciate it. I was trying to see if there was a message. I don't think there's a message. You just was showing some love. So thank you so much, Sky. I appreciate that. We got a $2 super chat from Tide World Order. Can't speak. Sorry, guys. I've been going since this morning. Just water fed, picking up your show. Phenomenal. Well, thank you so much, man. I'm glad you found us. Make sure you subscribe, hit that bell notification that way you get notified. But Monday through Friday, it's easy to remember. Monday through Friday, 11 to 1, because we're a radio show. We're live on radio Monday through Friday, weekdays, 11 to 1. And we just we stream, right? We started streaming that way we could expand our platform, have even more reach. And it's been great, man. It's honestly been a huge blessing. And it's just continuing to grow. And every day it feels like, I mean, I'm having new people kind of contact me, and there's potential opportunities that could be in play, and all that's a big part to all the people like you guys that make it possible. So thank you. No, I think he did it again. He might have made a mistake, man. But thank you again for the oh, he just created himself. Oh, I mean, I feel bad you had to spend another yeah, if you want a refund, I don't know if I can do that, but thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. Seriously. Another $2 super chat. Thank you, Adam. I appreciate that, man. And we got our guy Digger. What was I about to say? Let me try to catch up on some of these comments. Here's the thing about strength and conditioning. I'll be honest. I don't think that's the problem. It's not. I know people. And to be fair, I get it when you're like, man, we got these big guys, but they're not getting good movement. That's an issue with actual execution, more so on like the fundamental side of things. I'm telling you guys right now, dudes are on that offensive line are strong. Caden Proctor, Jaden Roberts. Man, there's a lot of guys in that weight room that I see their numbers on the board, and I mean, dudes are strong. Quay Rusaw, I mean, probably one of the most explosive guys. So it's not that. If anything, I mean, the stuff that they do is a lot of good work. I've worked out with the strength staff. It's not that. It's just more so in terms of, do I feel like there's a lack of that same unity and passion that we got from Coach Cochran? I do, but again, I could be biased just because I spent a lot of time with Coach Cochran. That said, I think Ballou does a great job as well in terms of, I mean, he's on those guys. I mean, there's good intensity in there. And I can't speak on it, too in depth, just because I'm around them a lot. I've been around them in that weight room, but not like on an everyday basis. But I don't think that's the problem personally. At least it's not the most glaring issue. Like, if you want to talk about from like the mentality standpoint and everything that comes from, those weight room sessions and just being with the strength and conditioning team all the time. Yeah, we could talk about that, but I don't think that's why Alabama. I think there's a lot of other issues that need to be addressed. And welcome back into this Hump Day edition of Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. We're rolling. We got a lot of good activity on the stream. Again, we always encourage you guys and invite you guys to come hang out with us if you just want to watch me run my mouth here and see what we throw up on the screen. Completely free. We just ask you just hit that like button and subscribe if you guys enjoy the content. Let's keep on rolling on the phone lines, 205-342-9904. We got Jay from Kentucky up next. Jay, welcome in.
Hey, Christian. I love your show. Roll Tide.
Thanks, man. Roll Tide. What's going on, Jay?
Yeah, just you hear things throughout the year, and a couple of times you would hear like, well, maybe DeBoer just doesn't have really his players as it maybe relates to the line, right? And so in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, portal opens. Like, I'm getting to where now, like, I want somebody that's played 2-3 years, one more, even if it's just 1 year. And I feel like the guy, almost to the point you were making, the guys we're getting, they redshirted, they didn't play. I was like, well, if you got tape, you're getting tape against the 4, lower competition. Like, how do you even make that call? Unless you're building depth, like maybe there's a plan in place and we just don't know, which I hope, but it just feels like the guys we're getting, like, I want to feel like this guy's played 3 years. I don't even care if he's from a smaller school. And it just kind of goes back to that experience that you just feel like you heard Saban. Like, you just got to get the reps. You need the time. You got to learn from your mistakes. And like, if you redshirt, how much growth can you get from 1 year to the second?
Right.
And so, but I feel like you probably see things on a different level than I do. Are there things that you feel like maybe DeBoer doesn't, based on his offense, maybe he didn't have quite the type of player? And my other question, if you have a chance, are there still things you see like, hey, I see DeBoer growing as a coach and, improving in areas that at least makes you feel like, yeah, he's going to get this where he wants, just on things maybe that you've noticed that maybe the common fan maybe doesn't pick up on?
Yeah, no, really, two really good questions. I'll say this. Thanks for calling, Jay. Good to meet you and speak with you. I'll say this. In terms of his guys, listen, we went back and watched a little bit of Washington yesterday. Not much. I'm going to continue to go back and do that. Those guys did win the Joe Moore Award. I don't know what they are rated coming out of high school, but I do know they did seem to have a little bit more of an athletic profile to them. The way they, their system, the same kind of things we have seen. A lot of zone, some pin and pull. They really run a lot of different run concepts. But you definitely felt that line had a little more athleticism than maybe we've seen out of our personnel on the offensive line over the last few years. Could that have a huge impact? I think it could definitely help, or it could do a little bit of something. But also know that the best coaches are able to put their players in the best position. So if you have a line that's a little bit more physical and maybe more fit for gap scheme, maybe just lean a little bit more into that. I just felt like it really was more so of an issue. Like personnel was one thing, but we had experience. The biggest problem was the execution. We just could not execute on a consistent basis with a lot of the stuff we were trying to do up front. And that, to me, coaches have to find a way to get it out of their players. And I always say, I can show you better than I can tell you. And that's why I really enjoy pulling up the tape, because the tape, that we watch on the channel here on YouTube, I show you guys examples of our offensive line not getting great push or not climbing up to the second level or getting shedded, right, and not finishing or sustaining their blocks. That stuff has to be cleaned up. Will it be cleaned up if he's able to get some players that maybe have a little bit more similar profile what he's used to? Hopefully. But my thing is, I feel like with the guys that we had, they had enough talent to where you should have been able to at least coach them up a little bit more to get a little bit more out of them the last couple of seasons. But we'll have to see. I know we get Ty Haywood. He's got a little bit more of an athletic profile. I know he's got a lot of potential. Now, I'll say this, right, to throw some positive news in here. The guys that we have right now, I feel like there's a lot of good upside, a lot of good potential for this group. I like Will Sanders. He's a scrappy player getting in there. Not the biggest, but he can move, and he's going to block to that whistle, and he can be physical even though he's a little bit undersized compared to some other guys. Michael Carroll, I was pleased with him. He's got some dog in him, and I think he's going to grow a lot. He got some very valuable reps. Jackson Lloyd, seeing him behind the scenes, he's always looked to be, a solid athlete, and I think he could keep developing. So, listen, I think there's potential and upside there. It's just, to me, where we're at now, that like if we were going into year one, that's one thing. But going into year 3 and knowing the expectations that are here, and it's not just me saying, if you guys don't want to listen to me, go listen to Coach Saban, who everybody worships, right? And rightfully so. One of the best of all time. He even said, making it to the top 8 is great. For anybody, it's probably excellent. But for Alabama, the reality is the standard is, that there's still more expected. And I just feel like where we're at currently with some of the moves, I just don't know exactly where. I guess we still got some ground to cover. Then to your other part in terms of some things that I might have seen from Coach DeBoer, I'll say this. I think him getting more comfortable and established here helped out a lot in year 2 versus year 1. Year 1, you could just sense he was trying to, get acclimated, let people get acclimated to him, wasn't probably able to really insert himself as much as he would like. And I saw a jump from year 1 to year 2 with that. The buy-in seemed a little bit better. But here's the thing, Jay, I think there needs to be an even bigger step taken. Listen, he's very much the type of guy that, as a head coach, he's going to, let his coordinators be coordinators, right? Like he's going to say, all right, you're a defensive coordinator. You do what you do. Offensive coordinator, you do what you do. I just think from what I've seen that we could really benefit from a little bit more assertiveness from the head position. And that might help with the stuff like trying to get more rhythm and flow to an offense. He's an offensive guy. He's an offensive guy himself. Just little things. You know what I mean? Like, I think that could be even better going into year 3. And I think if he can do that, it could potentially, come down the totem pole and affect some of the other coaches and whatnot. But that would be my only thing. I just know kind of the approach he has as a head coach. And I think he could probably benefit from being even more assertive. And I'm not saying yelling, so to speak. I'm just saying from the approach that it's okay to let your guys work. That's nice. They have that luxury. But when there are issues, to me, I think that falls on the head man, right? Like we can sit here and point to Ryan Grubb about no flow in the offense, but your head coach is an offensive-minded guy. At some point, he has to put his foot down and say, we're not having the best preparation or game plan. I need to be better. I need to better prepare our coaches. And until you get that, I don't think you're going to see the full potential. And I just think he has to keep getting more comfortable doing that. That's just my opinion from kind of my perspective. I'm not saying it's entirely right, but I think I have a pretty decent judge of it. And I just think that would be the one thing that I think he could probably do a little bit better job of really just kind of putting his foot down with everybody. Because I just think he's a really nice guy, man, really nice guy. And he wants to just let people do their thing. But especially at this level and at a place like this, man, sometimes, hate to say it like this, you got to be a little bit of an a-hole, man. You just kind of do. And I think that probably could actually help a little bit. You still?
I like it. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
One other thought. When Saban was here and he used to talk about the 9-game schedule, I was like, yeah, man, more SEC, more better matchups. After all the injuries, I'm like, I'd rather stay at 8. And I was like, I think with the lack of development, because so many players leave and come, as a player, you think that's going to make it even harder to develop because we're not going to be able to play the backup, because every game we were in a dogfight till the end. So it was like,
right.
Like I felt like our QBs, we didn't get them in except for the ULMs and the Illinois State, and it's like, I would have loved to have just seen them get a little bit of playing time against other SEC teams.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, well, when you have a young roster, they have no choice but to get thrown in the deep end. So there's that part. But in terms of scheduling, man, I just, the 9-game thing, I mean, it is what it is. But I guess when you got a schedule as tough as Alabama's, man, I mean, you just got to – you can't afford to be trying to say, oh, we need to get this guy some reps just to get him reps. I mean, you really just got to have the best players out there. So it's an interesting dynamic. But like I said, I think at this point we don't have a choice since we got so much youth, man. Everybody's going to get a lot of good experience. Just might mean we might be better suited the following year than maybe right now, at least as things currently stand. But Jay, I appreciate the call, man. Thank you so much. Great to hear from you, bro.
Yep, appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Take care. All right, we got to hit a timeout. We come back. We're gonna roll quickly because we got a number of calls. Everybody's lined up. I love it, man. Love talking with you guys. We'll do that when we come back right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
Hey, this is Reagan, owner of R&R Cigars, the Cigar Mansion.
Wait, Jay Jay that was on the line, Chase said he's a big Paul Feinbaum caller. That's dope. Yep, get the talent but need to develop. Absolutely. Absolutely. Basketball team is eating up NIL. I mean, that was something we talked about like a year ago, like having two good programs, but both being football and basketball, man. Like, how do you disperse the whole $20.5 million revenue share? But again, I talked about this on Outkick, but it's evident that that's almost non-existent, right? People are finding ways around all these rules and whatnot that are supposed to be in place. So Saban discount ended in 2023. Yeah, but to be fair, we were able to kind of ride it a little bit initially, just because I thought the staff did a good job of kind of maintaining some stuff. But that's why I said it was imperative that we continue to play at a very high level, right? Because that was one of our biggest advantages. And even though Coach Saban left, I mean, you still got the brand. And if you can prove that, hey, yeah, Coach Saban's gone, but listen, we're still playing at this level, right, on a consistent basis. That would still do wonders for a lot of these kids. But problem is, with some of the performances we had, I mean, there's no other way to put it. I mean, that sometimes some doubt creeps in, and it's easier for other teams to start using that again. Like, imagine what Georgia, imagine what Ole Miss, imagine what Miami, Ohio State, what these other schools are saying before. They used to try to negatively recruit Alabama all the time with Coach Saban. Oh, he's going to retire. Now they actually can say, oh, well, you look at Alabama, you look where they're like, the playing field's kind of leveled. I mean, we're kind of in that same range as a lot of these other good programs. People have caught up. So There's a video of Baloo last August reciting the improvement in conditioning, 3-0 line, bench 550 plus, squat at 900. Let's see, translate to the field, need quality defense analysts and on-field coaches to challenge Womack's strategy. And that's a really good comment. That's why I said, I mean, and I don't mean this in like in a rude way, but I think a lot of times, I mean, it's easy for people to grab like the low-hanging fruit when, you know, things aren't going right. And I'll be the first one to tell you, I mean, I like the impact Coach Cochran had, it wasn't like what we were physically doing in the weight room necessarily. It was really, you know, what he was instilling in us in terms of the mental toughness, right? The belief that we're outworking every single person in the country. You know, that alone, I felt like was just different than any other place. You know, like literally, I'll be the first one to tell you, because again, I've worked out with this new staff. I'll tell you what they do now is probably better. I mean, I have an undergrad in kinesiology. Not probably, it is. I mean, the sport-specific movements, the compound lifts that they do, it's probably better. But I think it's hard to compete with a guy like Coach Cochran when it comes to the life of the team, right? You know, building that mental fortitude, which is oh so important in football. We all know that. And welcome back into the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Let's see if we can try to roll through. I know we got Digger and George. We got a few minutes to go. Let's see if we can squeeze both of them. We got George. No, excuse me. We got Digger up first. I'm sorry. I got to go in order. We got Digger up first. Digger, welcome in.
Yeah, you know, I keep hearing callers calling in on the station belly aching about what Texas is doing in the portal. You know, if your refusal to evolve, first of all, you got to know that we've lost about 28. Yeah, evolve. You know,
Digger, we're evolving, but we also can't print money. We also can't print money or just go drill a little bit deeper for some more oil to get us a left tackle.
Nobody said anything when Alabama forked over $4 million to get a coach named Saban. It was unheard of. And that was back in the 90s, okay? Nobody said anything when he was taking on a number of coaches, but they couldn't be on the field, and they listed them as analytics. Nobody said anything about the money y'all were putting in the athletic department, okay? Just because a player leaves, and I know it doesn't feel good because you feel like you're getting jilted, just because you got a 5-star leaving Alabama, okay, because you won't pay him, or you won't give him the playing time, or he's looking for something better? Come on, evolve. What do you got to do? What is it you're going to do to get me to stay? And you're refusing to do that. That's all I'm saying. Now, keep in mind, one more thing. We're in the state of Texas. We're going up against Tech, A&M, and let's not forget about SMU, who's guilty of all of this too. And then you got a billionaire that's running the Houston department. Okay. So we have our own issues over here. Okay. And money seems to be the only way to get a player. Okay. Now we only got 13 and we lost 29. How are we going to keep a roster staff? We can't just say, okay, we'll promise you playing time. Come on.
Well, yeah,
you got to evolve.
Yeah, well, listen, I think we've evolved. I mean, that's not the case. I think right now it's about philosophy, right? I mean, Alabama just hasn't really been one to get into bidding wars, maybe like you guys might do. And again, that's y'all's philosophy and approach. And listen, I don't think you can flat out even just say that's a guarantee either, right? No offense. I mean, you guys spend a lot of money, but it's not like there's a guaranteed result that comes with it. Hell, I don't know what Indiana spent, but we're seeing them have some success. So listen, maybe I'll speak for myself. I'm not mad at anything. You know, the game is the game, right? Even like when the young man that flipped from the portal to you guys, if anything, and I'm sure you probably heard me say this, I said we probably dropped the ball somewhere along our ends, in my opinion, that we probably didn't, you know, we might have let something slip through the cracks. Maybe, I don't know. And maybe we didn't. Maybe it was just a case where he just, I don't know, never signed anything and went on. It is what it is. You know, like it is what it is. I'm not mad at it.
To be fair to him, though, he has an agent who probably gave him specific instructions
which was fair play to the
Not
agent.
sign anything until I look at it. That's all that was.
Yeah, no, listen, that's fair play to the agent. I hate to say it like that, but to be fair, I mean, and he probably did have some instruction. That's what those guys should be doing for the money that they're making off these kids. Like that, to me, I hate to say it like this. Alabama fans might want to hear, but from a business perspective, that's their job. Just like, didn't you mention you're in law, whatever it is? I mean, listen, I mean, just like the attorneys that represent the alleged criminals, man. I mean, it's their job to do that, right? So it is what it is. Go ahead.
Let me end it with this. Make it very fair for everybody. If you're upset about everybody spending the money, this is the way to do it. Okay, and this is the most equitable way to do it. Okay, over in Europe, they have a soccer league that's going through the same exact thing. So if you spend a percentage of what your program is earning, then you can do that. You can't exceed 27% of what you're earning. Okay. That will keep all the brands in place, including Alabama, and that will give some of the other universities a competitive, at least in the ballpark, to get some of the players that they want. So
yeah. No, let me just say this.
Fair play rule.
Right. I'll just say this though, Digger. I don't think the problem is so much on y'all spending, but more so they're supposed to, and it's not just you guys. It's a bunch of schools. They're supposed to be the 20.5 revenue cap, and then also the deals are supposed to be disclosed with the clearinghouse and approved. Let's just call a spade, Digger. You guys, Oregon, anybody that has these big billionaire boosters, right? People are going around that system. I think that's why people are just frustrated, because it's like there should be something in play.
Either that would
it's the collective.
The university. But if the attorney general told the state of Texas attorney general told the public universities, do not sign this agreement. Okay? They cannot hold you to this. And that's why. And that's why you saw Tech going out of control with the money. So, there you go. I'll let you go.
I appreciate it. Yes, sir. Always good to hear from you, Digger. Listen, we might be on different sides, but Digger definitely he's always got something we can respond to. We got to get out of here. We're about to run over. George, I hate that we left you stranded. I was not trying to get to you, but I promise if you want to call tomorrow, I'll be glad to try to get you in here. But we're going to close out on radio. I'm going to hang out on the stream a little bit longer to answer the last few questions. But that'll do it for us in this Hump Day edition of the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230. WTBC, big thanks to everybody. Chase Behind the Glass, all our listeners on Tide and on the AM side of things. And look forward to doing it with you guys tomorrow right here. Tide 100.9, 1230. WTBC.
You've been listening to the Miller's Edge, tackling sports daily.
Appreciate it, Chase. All right, let's see what we got here in the chat. If you guys have any questions I missed, man, I'll be glad to answer them real quick. Because I know I didn't get to a lot of chat stuff. We were talking with a bunch of folks on the phone lines, which is great, man. It was nice to catch back up on that, because I know we've had a lot of guests. Best thing Saban did was leave when he did. I mean, especially at his age. I mean, imagine him trying to keep up with all this. I just know, like, from experience, like the way Coach Saban works, man, Coach Saban works harder than anybody. And adding this element to it, which he was already in it, he was in the space, but I feel like it's gotten even more out of control. You talk about having to maintain coordinators and coaches, and it's like a revolving door on that level. It's too much. Example of the staff's beliefs, in my opinion, take the DL from Washington. He's from Alabama, didn't get recruited by Alabama. The staff sees potential from his build. They brought him home. He will not leave. To me, I think that also is interesting to, like, he wasn't offered out of high school from here, to my knowledge. I don't think he received an offer. That's what I'm saying. It seems like they're betting on their guys, which they're entitled to that. But I'm just saying, in this day and age in college football, and this is not me just saying it because I'm just telling you how this works, man, that's a risky bet. If it pays off, it pays off. It's kind of like his approach on, like, the fourth down stuff, right? When it goes great, everybody's hooting and hollering and dropping the nuts emoji like from South Park. But if it's a strikeout like the Indiana one and ends up being costly, I'm just saying, let me just paint the scenario again, because this is a possibility. Might not happen, but I'm just saying if it does, tell me how you think fans would react. That we let these guys walk, that were good players. We end up replacing them with their guys who right now, I mean, again, jury's out. I mean, I watched the tape on them. That's one thing, but I will be the first one over there when spring ball starts up, and I will get to see my actual eyes on these players in person. But say we end up losing 3 regular season games next year, and it ends up being similar to some of those losses that we've seen where it's just kind of like they shouldn't really happen, some uncharacteristic things. Seems like the preparation's not, as on point as it should be. How do you think not only are the fans going to react, but how do you think some of these people behind the scenes? You got to remember, like when they're getting this money, a lot of the money comes from these boosters. They're going and asking, people for money. Booster fatigue at some point will kick in if they're saying, "Well, goddamn, we just gave you, we wrote this check for this guy, wrote this check. He ended up being here. He left. He didn't this, whatever. We paid. We got this guy that you wanted. He's not a good player." I mean, like just think, like, guys, there's so much depth to this stuff that I don't think people really consider, and that's all I'm trying to do. I'm trying to include everything because I'm just telling you, people behind the scenes that play a big role. How do you think they feel when they're donating a bunch of money and they see a game like the Rose Bowl? I mean, think about how you felt watching it on TV. Now imagine somebody that's stroking some big checks and they're coming at you. I mean, like once they start kind of having a little bit of doubt, I mean, things can go, you know what I mean? Like, again, not to sound negative, it's just the reality of stuff. I'm just telling you how this stuff really works. Chet was a great rah-rah guy. I'm not so sure he's a great receivers coach. I'll be honest with you. He definitely did a lot of rah-rah. I ain't gonna lie. Almost to the point where initially I was like, yeah, man, he kind of has that energy that, you know what I mean? Like that I'm used to. But then it got to the point where I noticed like pregame, and no disrespect to him, but like I'd be on the field pregame. I couldn't help but notice anytime like the media crew, like with the camera was near them. I mean, like, and he did it all the time, but he would just go above and beyond. And I just was like, I couldn't help but think like, I don't know, man. It's just a little much. Like most recently, there was like a little girl, like she was like with their family on the field, and they just wanted like a high five from like Horton. And he like came in and did like the most like over the top thing. I was like standing right here on the field next to the lady when it happened. And he like looked at him in his eyes, like, "You see that little girl? You're going to play good for her. You're going to play good to make her day." This is like giving this whole speech. I'm like, you're just kind of smacking at the gums, bro. Like, what are we talking about? Brother, we're going to play good because it's our standard. Like, all respect to the little girl. Give her a high five, make her day. But like you over here adding like, "No, you better play good for this little girl that you have no idea who she is just because you gave her a handshake on the side." I'm like, bro, you just, the camera's right here. Come on, man. Trying to get you clip farming. But I agree, though. I was kind of questionable on I don't know, man. I don't know. Misusing Ryan, I think that was probably a little bit more on the coordinator for sure. But still, it's frustrating when you watch. I mean, I watch Miami, man. Their dedication to running the football. I mean, I watch Tony, who's supposed to be in high school, who's got similar, yak ability, yards after the catch, right? I mean, special. I mean, they just run a bunch of tunnel screens with the dude. I mean, they obviously give him the ball in other ways, but you get what I'm saying. I mean, they just know. Just get the ball in our playmakers' hands. Let them work. And they have nice little nuances to it. Like when they run those tunnel screens, like they have false pullers, right? Make the linebackers read their keys. Make them work the opposite direction. Now you got your linemen working out. They're going one way. Offense line working that way, and your best playmaker's got the football in his hand. Like, that's good football. That's good coaching. That's good scheme. Indiana. Go watch Indiana play defense. Go tell me that their top pass rushers. Like, I'll be honest right now. They don't have a Reuben Bain, in my opinion. I mean, they got good players up front, solid players for sure. But like, what do? They scheme you up, man. They disguise better than a lot of teams. They run a lot of simulated stuff. They run a lot of different stuff on the back end, confuses quarterbacks. They bring their backers a lot, right? Whether they're plugging them, They're bringing safeties. They're just bringing it from all different places, a bunch of exotic different looks. That's scheme. That's coaching. I mean, people can sit there and complain about their age, but without that, those old dudes aren't doing nothing. So all I'm saying is, I guess with that, to the point of somebody mentioned a coach, I'm just saying, I mean, like, there's so many things that need to be addressed. Like, I mean, it's not just one little thing. And that's why I'm just saying, when we're talking about those factors, and then now I'm looking at where our roster stands. Again, I mean, people can get frustrated with me or call us negative. I don't think they do. I mean, we have very great, reputation. We always have one. We have always one person that dislikes the stream. It's probably the same hater that does it, because it always is one. But anyway, I don't care about. So what I'm getting at is people are very receptive of what we do. I try to do it in a very respectful way. But I'm just saying, I really don't see how anybody could look at where we're at today, which we still got time. Be patient. I've been telling you guys that, and feel like we're in a better spot as a football team than we were just a few short weeks ago. And we saw how that went. That's all I'm saying. And I'm just saying, I mean, I feel like it would be kind of irresponsible. That's probably a better word. I'm not going to use the word ignorant, but it's probably irresponsible to think with where we're standing right now that we're just magically going to be even better with a tough schedule. And so I just personally think we have some work to do. So hopefully we can do that. We got another super chat from Tide World Over. He said this the program will benefit from saving guys coaching. I'll be honest, man. I think the direction that this staff is going is kind of going away from what we previously had. I'm just being honest. At least from a roster standpoint. I'm not saying they wouldn't hire former Saban guys, but I'm just saying it's kind of evident that they're getting their guys. They're kind of trying to do it their way. Totally fine. Listen, I'll say this. We're off the radio. I'm just going to say this right here. One day, not anytime soon, probably in the future, I'll be able to share a lot more with you guys. Can't do it right now. We'll circle back, and maybe some of this stuff will make a little bit more sense down the road. But we'll cross that bridge later. We'll cross that bridge later. Totally on the zone, the negative free. Absolutely, man. Again, you just gotta make sure you maintain that, Al. Just because I know some people, and if you're honest, sometimes they perceive it the wrong way and they think you're trying to be a certain. I'm like, no. Like when things are great, I'll pump it up as much as I can. Like I'm proud. But when there's signs of concern or things that I feel like we should talk about, just that are honest and truthful, I got to do that. Always going to try to find a way to just present it in a sense where it's not like, okay, the sky's falling, because I still don't think that. Even though I have concerns where we're at, I still think if you develop this young team the right way, and that could be a possibility. That could be that maybe this group is exactly what this staff needs to work with. I'll be honest with you, I don't personally see that being the case, but I'm saying it could happen, and you could have a much better football team. Hell, I hope that ends up being the case. But just everything I've seen up to this point, that's just not necessarily the perspective I have. You can still be a fan, but step back and not be so emotionally involved, because if you still do, it gets worse. You can't change anything, but let them go through the pains, see where it ends up. Yeah, and then listen, and even in regards to offensive line, I mean, they might be young. Georgia was young. They went through growing pains, but they ended up being okay. Throughout the course of the year, they ended up playing some good ball. So I'm not saying like, oh, we're young, that means they're not going to be a good team. I just mean that, to me, I think it just means a couple things. Development has to be at its peak. And two, you probably have to expect some growing pains. Not probably. You have to expect some growing pains. I think what Christian's trying not to say is this staff wants to do it their way, not Saban's way, and we'll see if it works. That's kind of where I'm going with that. I'll let you say it, but yeah, that's kind of if you guys can kind of read between lines. I mean, I'm pretty much saying that anyway. But like I said, I don't want to flat out just be like, oh, they're doing it their way. I don't want to sound like that guy, but I'm just being completely honest with you, man. I mean, like, I know a lot of people, inside and out. I mean, I know people from the outside that are heavily involved. Clearly know a lot of people on the inside that are heavily involved. I mean, and then if you just read the writing on the wall, I mean, like, look at all the guys that have left. It's just evident that they're doing it their way. And I'm not saying that's necessarily wrong. It's that everybody's entitled to it. No, you didn't butcher that up. No, I know exactly. Yeah, you're right. We'll just kind of see. I mean, listen, Washington, they had success. Where he was at before, I mean, he's had a lot of success. I mean, hopefully that's the case. I just know, this Alabama is a different beast, guys. I mean, it is. You guys know that. Fan base has to move past the past. Well, I'll word it like this. Do I think it's beneficial to compare every move that these guys do to Coach Saban and what the teams that I played on and some of his other teams did? No, I don't think it's necessarily beneficial at all because they're not them and they will never be them. It's impossible, right? They're totally different people. It's a totally new era, new players, everything. So I agree on that front. However, my pushback is that you have to at least expect it, though. He's the immediate follow-up to Coach Saban. I mean, if you didn't think anybody would be comparing, I mean, you probably are just in denial, right? Not saying you are, but you get what I'm saying? Like, everybody knows they're going to compare. That's why guys don't want to take the job after the man. They say you want to be the man after the man. Or the man that comes after the man. Whatever the saying is, you guys get what I'm saying. Everybody knows everything's going to be looked at under a microscope. Oh, well, he would have done this. They would have done that. Now, everybody's going to do that. So it's part of it. But I agree. It's not necessarily beneficial to do that. And I think you need to probably – that's why I said also it applies to other things, but definitely was talking about the transfer portal. But you have to just recalibrate expectations sometimes. I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, listen, even Coach Saban was still here. I mean, I wouldn't expect him to be in the national championship game every year. Like, I played in 4 straight national championship games. Crazy as hell to think about, especially in today's day and age. I mean, that's like wild. 4 straight national championship games. But I mean, you'd be wild to even think that Coach Saban would even be able to replicate that still. No one can. Kirby even can. He's probably one of the closest things to Coach Saban. It's tough, guys. I don't think people understand. It's tough. And I'll listen, being somebody that played in the 4 team, this new system with while it's good that you get a chance to make it in now more than ever because it's expanded, let's call a spade a spade. It's more difficult to win now. You got to win more games against better teams to keep on advancing. Like, we had to go on the road to Oklahoma. That's a tough matchup. Right? Good football team on the road just to advance. Then you get matched up against Indiana, who is the number 1 seed. Then if you beat Indiana, then you have to go and face a really good Oregon football team just to try to get to the national championship game. I mean, that's tough, man. That's tough. That's why I'm saying you just have to recalibrate. That's why for me, like when we hired Coach DeBoer, I know a lot of fans are like, oh, he's won everywhere. He's going to come here and do it. I'm like, listen, I don't necessarily expect him even to win a national championship. It's hard to win a national championship. I know from experience, and we didn't have to go through this long of a gauntlet. So my thing is just like, you have the team in contention. That's about all people can ask for. That's why I kept comparing it to like Ryan Day at Ohio State, at post Urban Meyer. Ryan Day, I mean, people were complaining, oh man, he can't win the big ones. Well, guess what? He still was always in that realm. And that's what nowadays consistency is the key. If you can at least be consistently contending, that's it. Now the next step is we have to grow from, all right, some of these performances that we do see, that needs to be cleaned up. That would be my own. I have no problem with where we finish this year. I have no problem having 4 losses in year number 2. Again, to me, that's almost expected. The only problem I have is what appeared to be a lack of preparation, both mentally and also schematically. Not all the time, but several times, because we saw that a little bit in year 1, and it carried over into year 2. I just don't think you can afford to allow those to creep back in year 3, because it's only going to, keep that doubt there, right? No matter how good you do, if you're good for 2 or 3 games a year that you just don't show up, again, it's different if you play a competitive game and say that they just got the best of us, but we're getting beat down like that. That's especially at Alabama, man. People behind the scenes they don't bode well. Let me stop rambling. But hopefully you guys get what I'm saying, man. Hey, I'm an IU fan, but I love football and respect Alabama. Having said that, I've seen this before. You should refrain from falling back talking about Saban. Look, we talked about Bob Knight forever. I mean, Saban's just going to come up because, he just was such a big part. He literally was just the past coach, not to mention, he's around if they want to utilize him. I don't know if they're destroying it because of Bama. I just think what happened was they got into a legal thing when they got sued, and now it's just like they feel like they can't really say anything without the risk of being sued or not offering, I guess, all the rights to the players. Maybe. How can the board not see Grubb as an issue, showing why Seattle is having success after they fired him? Now we're having the same issues. That's a problem if the head coach didn't address it. That's why my recommendation was I just urged him to be a little bit more assertive. And I know you guys are probably, well, how do you know? Trust me, I know. He allocates that responsibility to his guys. That's just his approach. But I think it would benefit to maybe at some point start being a little more assertive. Like, all right, we got to get something changed or something clicking, because at the end of the day, it falls back on me. And people can complain about Grubb, but at the end of the day, the head coach is the ultimate guy responsible. He's at the top. Alabama fans are delusional. Bama should have never made it to the second round of the playoffs with a bad offensive line in the running game. Tai Simpson in the defense carried. Are you talking about like that Oklahoma game? Ty definitely had a great performance once he settled down and got rid of the happy feet and the big eyes and was able to deliver some really nice throws. Receivers came up with some big plays. Shout out to those guys. Got to give them credit. Defense stepped up in the second half, finally get some pressure. We were down 17-0. It was honestly, I think that was like the biggest comeback in the playoffs or something like that. But I wouldn't say we didn't deserve to be there. I get what you're saying, though. We didn't play great that first half, but the resiliency that we showed, showed that we earned it, right? Cristobal states often that he's not trying to bring the U back. He's creating something new, but he's clearly based his philosophy on being good/great in the box on both sides of the ball. Yeah, and he's right, though. He's not going to recreate what the U did in the early 2000s. That'd be foolish to think that. That's what I'm saying. Even trying to recreate like what Coach Saban was able to do, like go look now that you can go backwards and see all the success that all these guys that came through here, like what they ended up doing. To think you're going to recreate that. You would be foolish as a coach to think that. Again, I hate going to Kirby, but again, he's probably the closest thing to Coach Saban. I know people are going to compare Cignetti, but look at what Kirby's been doing over a little bit longer of a period of time. Producing NFL talent, first round talent, very similar style of doing things. Schematics are very similar. even he is having a hard time maintaining. I mean, like it's different. So yeah, I agree. I remember the years from Bear to Stallings. It was not a lot of fun, but it is what it is. Huge fan of yours, Christian Loves. Hey, man, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'll be honest. I'll be the first one to tell you guys. I mean, I didn't really become a fan of Alabama until I started getting recruited in 2012, I think it was, maybe 2013. I grew up seeing Alabama play for sure, but it wasn't really until I started getting recruited a lot, so I really became a fan. So I always enjoy hearing you guys' perspectives and experiences from some of the other eras and periods of Alabama football because I didn't have that. Plus, I was born in '96, right? So I mean, I missed some of the earlier years. Yeah, I hear you, Wayne. Yeah, I mean, again, it shouldn't be about comparing him to Nick Saban, and I don't think too many people do that. No, some people. I think the biggest thing is comparing the product of the standard, and not necessarily from a wins and loss basis, but more so of like what you're getting out of the team. That's why I'm telling you, I can't say it enough. If the losses that we've had over the last 2 years weren't as bad of losses that they were, given how we showed up and played, I think it's a whole different conversation. I really do. Do you think DeBoer knows he'll be under a microscope in year 3 and wants to play to all his strengths, bringing in his guy and giving his best shot? I think he knows that, there's definitely going to be attention. I mean, he would be the first one to tell you. He's not dumb. He understands how this works. I'm not saying he's on the hot seat. I'm not saying that. But I'm just telling you what I know, that, with some of the most recent performances, right, Georgia and Indiana, it has brought on a little extra attention. That is a fact. I mean, I'm just telling you what I know. Just trust me. When I say things, I promise you guys, I'm telling you what I know. That said, I'm not saying there's the hot seat deal, but to your point, no, I think that's why we're seeing what we're seeing. I think he's kind of trying to bet on himself. I just think if you're going to do that, though, I mean, betting on getting young guys, to me, that's again, their approach is their approach. If it was me, I'm just speaking because I mean, people just tune in, they just want to hear me talk. I personally would have probably struck a balance. Like I would have probably leaned a little bit more into what I do, but I would have made sure, and I'm sure they still got time. I would have got dudes in knowing that this year 3 is really important. I don't care what anybody says. This is a big year for the staff. I would be making sure I'm getting guys in here that I know I'm getting some of my guys that I'm hoping and expecting to develop and get them to play up, but also for security, having some dudes like a Nakai Hill Green and some of these others, like some vets, right, that can come in and say, all right, they might be on a year contract. We might get a year out of them, but we know they can come play some serious snaps for us. And I didn't revisit this, but just to give you guys just a snapshot, I mean, with the number of guys we brought in, I mean, the Mississippi State guy's an older player with experience. But to me, I felt like from what I had seen out of him on tape, I don't think he's going to be like a huge impact guy, but somebody can definitely give you some snaps. Virginia Tech linebacker, you still have a hole at, like Mike linebacker, like a real signal caller. He's more of a weak side backer. He's going to fill in that Justin Jefferson role, which is good. You needed that. So that does check a box. But we need to make sure we get like an experienced guy. Linebacker is linebacker's like a quarterback of a defense, guys. QB Reese, I like him, but he's small. He's got small. I mean, he's got some size concerns. I know Luke Metz and I'm drawing a blank on other guys. Caden. I think they're young guys with potential, but I'm just saying, to me, you bring in an older guy at that position specifically and let those guys keep developing, and they still can potentially work in, right? I mean, like in the linebacker rotation, we've seen it. I mean, we consistently play at least 3 guys, even though we're typically only putting 2 on the field. So right now, you got the Virginia Tech guy probably going to be fighting for one of those spots, probably that spot left behind by Justin Jefferson. But it's really interesting to see who's going to take over Deontay Lawson's spot. Then you still need like a swing guy type deal, which I think QB Reese will probably be that swing guy. So that's what I see linebacker unit looking like Virginia Tech guy, QB Reese maybe being a little bit of that swing, but I would really feel comfortable getting some experience via the portal. And then defensive line guys, I mean, like after Renaud just left, I mean, Cavante Henry, I mean, he stood out to me on tape coming out of JUCO, but getting him here and getting him, in our system, he had a ways to go this past year. And that kid from Washington, I mean, same thing. I think he's got a ways to go. We got to get some dudes, man. If you bet on young guys, be prepared for a couple average seasons. Yeah, or at least, I mean, definitely growing pains. I mean, hopefully you can get up to speed as quick as possible. But yeah, typically when you're betting on young guys, I mean, there's going to be growing pains. 100%, Adam. 100%. The key is how quick can we get them there? We got spring ball. Oh, listen, these reps are vital. Spring ball with all this youth has to be, I mean, this has to be like this spring is so important. Like spring, they got to figure out what they're working with. And they got to get those guys up to speed as quick as possible. Go that way you can go into summer workouts. Then guys can get back to work, right? Working on themselves, their bodies, all that good stuff. You'll have 7-on-7, some O-line, D-line work, kind of crafting a little bit, as we say. And then fall camp, man, you got to build off of it. Hell, you got to remember, guys, we're also having a fresh quarterback battle. We're not returning an experienced quarterback. 2 really good, talented players, but don't have experience. I mean, we got a lot of new blood that we're going to be relying on. Mark Ingram's in the NFF Hall of Fame. Oh, man, shout out to Mark, man. That's awesome. Center from Cal Poly's probably visiting Thursday. I think we saw a couple clips of him, if I'm not mistaken. I thought he was a good player. You guys know me, man. I don't really care about the ratings or where they come from, man. We go off of the tape, and if that's the kid we watch, I think that he looked like he was scrappy, had ideal size, good footwork. Again, you got to remember he's playing against the competition where he's at, but I thought he stuck out. If that's the same guy we took a glimpse at. Yeah, Bama lost. I mean, all 3 backers, Tim Keenan up front, who did a really good job. And that's the other thing. We got to figure out exactly on defense, because I think part of the inconsistencies were like we didn't have the best structure defensively. And I think this staff needs to really kind of figure out what they want this system to be. I think that's another reason. I'm talking about fit with some of these players. You know what I mean? Like, do you want to have more of a 2-gap type deal up front? You know what I mean? You want to be more of a penetrating defense? I feel like we kind of had personnel for one thing. We started asking them to do another. Then we go back to doing one. Like, if you watch the tape, you'll see what I'm talking about. It needs to be more structure. And I think we need to continue to build off of some of the things we added to this defense. Because year one, I thought the defense was a little bit too bland, personally. We just ran a bunch of man coverage, which was interesting because we initially thought he was the big cover 3 guy, which he is. Then we saw a bunch of man coverage. This year, we changed it up a little bit. Then we started playing a lot more zone again. Then later in the year, we got back to playing a little bit more man. But I think like we need more pressure packages. I feel like, our pressure packages and even the coverage that we play on the back end behind it, I mean, could be a little bit more in depth. I thought the disguise was much better. That's what I'm saying. Like there's definitely positive steps, but it has to be like, needs to be even more. I think somebody said earlier, like, oh, well, promise people are like using the portal as a measuring stick. I'm like, I'm not. Other like fans might be doing. I don't do that. I care. I don't even know where. I have no idea where Texas is ranked in the portal. I don't even know where we rank in the portal. And to be honest, I could care less. All I care about is what we have on our roster. I don't care if you're high school, portal, JUCO. That stuff, I mean, the portal stuff, I don't care about that. I think other people might, just because they do it with recruiting too. Everybody just assumes, oh, we had a number top 3 recruiting class. That means we got the best. And I'm like, there's a lot more that goes into it. We got a $5 super chat from Ron Hollywood. What's up, Ron? Thank you so much, man. He says, do you think we need to make changes to the defensive staff? Not firing Womack, but others. You guys know me, man. I don't ever call for anybody's jobs, man. I just like these are people's lives, families, kids. You know what I mean? I never call for jobs, but I don't necessarily think you need like changes on the defensive side. I think you just need more changes to like the scheme, the system, to really get the most out of these guys. I don't think it's necessarily the coaches. Like a lot of tension on like the D line. D-line didn't have a bad year at all. I just don't think they necessarily had the best talent at times. And I also just think with some of the stuff that they're doing or not doing, you know what I mean? Like I'll give an example. Like our system, like Miami system, I mean, they have a system where like they're letting their guys go eat. You know what I mean? And they're playing a lot of 4 down from what I've seen. With how we operate, I mean, I don't think this system's necessarily designed for our guys up front to be having like crazy production like that. So I just think I think you could clean some stuff up, even on the back end. I think it's more of a scheme thing. Chris Jones from Southern Miss. I heard about this. I think I seen a picture of this dude, and this dude looked like a freaking tank. We'll have to go back and watch him. I'll try to pull up some tape. I don't know if I can do it right now because I got to eat, man. I've been going since this morning. But we'll check them out though at some point. I'll pull up some tape tomorrow for sure. SEC is too talented for most young guys to come in and make immediate impacts. Yeah, I mean, depending on position too, Adam can definitely play a role. But you're right. I mean, it's a really good conference. I mean, and like my dad's like, especially like young offensive linemen, like that is tough. It is hard for like a receiver. You can be young and come in, and it's a little bit easier for you to transition. Offensive line going against grown-ass men up front, like, and not like, a 5'11", 220-pound defensive end from high school. And now you're going against Reuben Baines and LT Overton, guys that are 280 that are athletic. I mean, it's an adjustment, Now, granted, most of our guys like redshirt freshmen, so they've at least been in the system, so they're not starting from ground zero. But they still don't have like that valuable in-game experience. So there's going to be some growing pains. But I think a second-year player, I mean, you're at least a much further along than maybe like a true freshman when it comes to trench play. Picking up Pruitt somewhere in the staff would be a plus. It could, but here's the thing. I mean, you guys got to remember, man, dude has Coach Saban's, number on speed dial figuratively, right? Meaning like if he really wanted to, employ some of those things from Coach Saban's system, he could, but I hadn't seen him really do that. So, I mean, that's his choice, which again, he's entitled to it. But I mean, I would beg the question, maybe why not adapt some of the stuff from the GOAT when you really have like that's what he's there to do. But again, I mean, people, their systems, their stuff, they're entitled to do what they want to do. DeBoer's coaching philosophy and culture done fitting with the SEC. It's definitely a different fit than maybe what we're used to seeing. Maybe obviously Saban or even Georgia, hell, probably even Ole Miss, some of these other schools. But I think it's early to say. I mean, if it'll definitely work or not. I mean, because to be fair, I mean, definitely had a lot of progress from year 1 to year 2. The way defense played, I mean, probably was good enough to definitely win you some games, but we still got to be better. But I'll be honest with you, Adam. I mean, I do agree that the fit with Coach DeBoer, I don't know if it's necessarily, and again, it's just my opinion. I don't know if it's necessarily the best fit, in my opinion, but that doesn't mean it can't work. I think he still can have success. I do. I do believe he can with the way he does things or his system. I just don't think it might necessarily be like the ideal fit going off of what we built. Because you just got to remember, I mean, again, sorry to bring Coach Saban up, but I'm just saying he was here for a long time. So that whole system had really marinated here. And Coach DeBoer's system and approach is definitely a lot different, you know. But again, to Coach Saban's point, I don't even know who really would have been available like that might have been a successor of his that, you know. So, but no, I think Coach DeBoer definitely can have success. I just think it's going to be different, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Seems to be taking the same approach that Lincoln Riley did at USC. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. Yeah, Mark Cuban, man. Should be nice to have us a Mark Cuban. Definitely would. Great show, Christian. Keep them coming. Hey, thanks, guys, for hanging. I appreciate you, man. Seriously. Shout out to Offsides, man. Thank you guys for hanging out. Are you ever going to take calls in the stream? You just got to call in via radio, man, because I'll be honest, I don't have it set up to do it via the stream, but just call in via radio. It's the same thing. It's still on the stream. You just got to do it while we're on our radio hours. But I love to get you on there. It's same deal. You just call the station. Just call the station. We'll get you on there. All right. That being said, guys, I'm gonna grab them, probably get some food. Like I said, man, I had an interview with Outkick. It went well, by the way. I enjoyed it. If you guys want to check it out, you can find it on their platform. I think I retweeted it. I'll make sure I retweet it on our page if you just want to check it out. Just talking about portal, Alabama football, stuff like that. A lot of stuff we talk about here already, but feel free to go check it out if you want. And I again, I don't want to jump the gun, but I feel like there's a lot of stuff that's slowly brewing, not even slowly, quickly brewing with us. So I'll just leave it at that because I don't want to speak too soon on things. But it looks like things are lining up where, I mean, the show is growing, man. So again, I say that not to talk about myself, but to tell you guys thank you for hanging out with us, supporting us, even if it's just hopping on here for a couple hours of a day or giving us a like. We definitely appreciate that, man. Seriously. Because it's helped us expand and help people get more eyes on us. And man, I've had a lot of opportunities just kind of coming out. I'll be honest with you, I really just do this because for the fun of it. But yeah, man, it's a blessing. Of course, Arthur, man, hey, no problem. Anytime, brother. I'll hit these last couple questions real quick. We got it. The portal has been rough on us, but we can still turn around with the starter O-line and the Wolf. Yeah, and I don't even know. I mean, listen, I don't even know if I would necessarily say rough. I definitely say it probably hadn't been up to what a lot of people expected, maybe. But I agree. I think if you can close out strong by getting because you got to add it. You need the bodies regardless. So if you can get an experienced, maybe even 2 offensive linemen, I think that would be huge. A couple more experienced guys for the defensive front. I mean, that could be huge. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm just sharing with you guys my honest analysis of where we're at today. You know, that's all it is. And I hope it's different. I hope it's a different story tomorrow. I hope I come back on here on a Thursday edition of the show and we're talking about some, quality experience guys. We'll have to wait and see. Might even come next week, right? The portal's closed, but we're still recruiting. Maybe it's Monday or Tuesday. But I agree. I think if you can find a way to really secure some of those players that are true plug-and-play guys, I think that would ease some of the concerns. If not saying that it's, we're not going to have success. It just means we're really going to have to buckle up and be confident that this coaching staff can get the youth up to speed and develop. That's all that means. You know what I mean? So just always remember that, guys. I'm not just trying to bullshit you to feel better. I'm just being honest. You can have success with youth. I don't want people to get that confused. but it just means you're putting a lot of stock in that, right? A lot of stock. Again, I compare stuff to finance all the time. Here you go. That's like you betting on a new company that the return on it can be high. There's a lot of potential there, but it's a little bit different, right, than betting on a safe, sure stock, maybe a dividend stock or a stock of a company that's been around forever, that you kind of know what you're getting out of it. Seems a little aggressive, but it can pay dividends. It can. Chuck, man, thanks for subscribing. We appreciate it, man. Again, Monday through Friday, 11 to 1 is radio hours, and sometimes I end up getting guilted into hanging out with you guys. I'm kidding. I end up hanging out with you guys for even longer, and we watch and break down tape, which we'll do that. No, I didn't say that. No, I'm not saying. No, I didn't say all that. No, I didn't say we're. No. I'm just saying. Same thing I said. No, I mean what I say. We're going to rely heavily on youth. And if I need to take it a step further, that's not always, if you just look at history or statistically, relying too much on youth doesn't always translate well. Doesn't necessarily translate well. That's all I'm saying. Not saying it can't, but no, I don't think that. No, we still got good players. I mean, we still have, talent in the quarterback room. It's just you're betting on potential. We still got some really good skill players in that wide receiver room. You know what I mean? We still got some talent like this young backs we got. I mean, I think it was Oregon, didn't they have like 2 freshman backs? Both really good players. So you get what I'm saying? I'm saying you can do it. But if you're going off of, all right, what are the odds, right? How many people have a bunch of young players starting and they're just running the table? Not a bunch of it. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. It's just not very common. So, but you guys know me, man. Just trying to be honest with you guys and also, being fair. Honest but fair. That's our motto here. All right. I got to get out of here. Got to get some food in my system, man. Big thanks to all you guys hanging out with me. If you haven't, man, hit that like button on the way out tomorrow. We got Brandon Clear. He'll be joining us. I think Slade might be jumping on. I think those will be our 2 guests. And I'll keep trying to work the phone lines as well. But again, man, we don't ask anything from you guys. We just sit back, enjoy the show. And if you don't mind, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't. And like Chuck just said, man, if you want to share it, if you got social media, anybody, share it. We want to get the word out as much as possible and keep spreading the good word of football, entertaining you guys, but also offering, some expert analysis, if you will, about the game and keep on rolling from there. But seriously, thank you guys. I appreciate it. I look forward to talking with you guys tomorrow right here on the Miller's Edge.